good.
We understand you.
At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. Opening week is presented by Humana. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Humana. Start with healthy. By People's United Bank, checking without curveballs. Member FDIC. By your local Ford dealers for great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Visit buyfordnow.com. By the NFL Experience, a live-action football attraction located in Times Square. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Mets are off to a good start in the budding season. Still a little chilly, but a sunshiny day at Citi Field for Game 2 of the season. Build-A-Bear Day. Take your teddy bears and come and see a ball game. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets try to go to 2-0 on the season. They went to 1-0 on Thursday by banging out 12 hits and scoring 9 runs against the Cardinals without a single home run. A bit of a change in style for the Mets, including a couple of 2-strike hits by Yoenis Cespedes.
Well, this was a club last year that relied on the home run and struck out a lot. Well, Cespedes really, probably the best hitter in this ball club, got 2 big hits with 2 strikes. That's a pitcher's pitch right there. It was a 1-2 or 0-2 count. He stays in. That's the key. He got a hanger there. So these are all good signs from the offense. The Mets had a really wonderful day offensively. Banged out 12 hits. A couple guys got on 4 times. They did all the little things.
Mets make a couple of changes in the batting order today. Brandon Nimmo and Kevin Plawecki sit after good days. Juan Lagares is in, and so is Travis d'Arnaud. Meanwhile, Jacob deGrom, who probably would have had the opening day start if not for some back stiffness in March, makes his start on day 2.
Well, almost all career highs last season. Jacob deGrom, maybe save for 3 or 4 difficult starts, was as good as you can get last year. Finished second in strikeouts to Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer. 15 wins, over 200 innings. Looking to build on this year. I mean, he's my prediction, honestly, for the Cy Young. That's how good Jacob can be, and maybe the Mets need him to be that good.
Only one pitcher pitched a complete game shutout against the Mets last year. That was Michael Wacha, who starts today for the Cards.
You know, Walker's had an interesting career. He came on like gangbusters, NLCS MVP in 2013, and then he had a stress fracture in his scapula, and it's kind of retarded his progress just a bit, but he came alive last year with 12 wins, looking for better this year.
1 win down. Mets go for 2 today. It's the Mets and the Cardinals at Citi Field. All the action coming your way right here on SNY. The first Free Shirt Friday of the season is April 13th. The Mets take on the Milwaukee Brewers. All fans in attendance will receive a Jacob deGrom t-shirt courtesy of Jake's 58. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. People's United Bank brings you today's starting pitchers, and there they are, Ronnie.
Oh, very nice. Nice numbers.
You just can't get around Keith's humming. Keith is so inspired.
I love that song.
I hope this lasts all year, Keith. I hope you're just this inspired in the middle of August. It's still March. Mets go for 2-0. First pitch coming up. In a year in which all his other mound mates staggered or fell during 2017, Jacob deGrom stood tall. 15 wins, 3.53 ERA, 200+ innings for the first time in his career, and now gets his 2018 started on day 2 of the season. Hyundai starting lineup for the Cardinals. Mike Matheny will stick with his first game lineup that produced 4 runs and 6 hits, the exact same starting 8 in front of Michael Wacha, including Jose Martinez, who had the big day on Thursday. Dexter Fowler leads things off against deGrom, whose first pitch is a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway.
107 starts in his career for deGrom, ERA 2.98. During the day, 38 starts, he's 17-8.
And with that 17-8, a 1.99 daytime ERA, the best in modern baseball history. And when you consider that, you know, the first 50-odd years of modern baseball history, they played mostly day games, that makes it more impressive.
That was the only kryptonite that Dwight Gooden had. Could not pitch during the day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. His nighttime ERA was off the charts. Daytime, he was almost human.
Really?
He must have not made those day games.
Well, I certainly didn't make BP.
1-2 to Fowler, who went 0 for 4 opening day, and he whacks one foul and stays 1-2.
Wow.
Here are the day-night numbers for DeGrom. About a third of his career starts have come under the sunshine. First sunshine start with the short hair. Let's hope for Jake's sake there's no Samson effect.
I don't think there will be. It's nice to see that handsome face with that hair gone.
I like it. I like it. I also like that up and in fastball he just chunked up there. 6th start against the Cardinals career, 3-2 lifetime.
His highest ERA against any team, 4.70. He's had some rough days against St. Louis.
Oh.
And the slider just misses to Fowler, 2-2.
You know, I was mentioning before, last year saved for 3 or 4 really bad starts by DeGrom. Those numbers would have really been less, especially his ERA. One of those was against the Cardinals.
7th pitch of this opening at bat, and it's low and away, 3-2. Well, right out of the gate, DeGrom's velocity on his slider and his changeup are elevated. Not his fastball. His fastball's right where it normally is, around 95.
Which is means you're just a little pumped up, which always happens in your first start.
3-2 coming, and a good turn at bat here for Fowler as he works through 8 pitches and still in there. Fowler has a home run in 6 career at bats against DeGrom. Fowler had a unique experience on Thursday. Started in right field for the first time in his career. He's out there again today, and he struck him out. Got him with a slider. DeGrom strikes out Fowler to start the day.
And your Lexus starting infield for your Metsies. You've got the same crew out there except Travis d'Arnaud with his first start behind the plate. And in the outfield, Lagares, the Gold Glover in 2014, gets his first start in central field.
Here's Tommy Pham. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Pham 0 for 4 on opening day, struck out 3 times after a breakthrough season last year.
Really had a tough spring training. There is concerns about his eyesight, and he really struggled in spring. No pitch recognition.
That's been an ongoing concern with Pham. He has an eye condition that they've had to work through over the course of his career. Seemed to have it corrected last year, and it might have had a lot to do with the fine season he had as he fouls back to fastball 2-2.
Well, evidently he took a lot in spring training. He hit around 220 in spring, so you can't say it was a terrible spring, but he did a lot of extra hitting in the backfields.
And Pham goes down on strikes as DeGrom pulls the string, and he has back-to-back strikeouts to start the day.
Well, 3-2 slider to Fowler fools him, and now the changeup down and into the right-handed hitting Pham.
Well, the Cardinals struck out 15 times in the opening day, 10 against Syndergaard, and they're off to a rollicking start today.
By the way, they had plenty of company.
Yeah, right.
On opening day, the major league average for strikeouts in a game was 19.4. It was the most strikeouts of any day in major league history where there were at least 13 games played. We're talking about nearly over 7,500 days, and Thursday was the most strikeout prone day in history.
I mean, close to double figures for both teams. You know what I mean? Close to 20 there. 10 strikeouts in 6 innings for Noah. No glasses today.
This is where the game is trending.
1-1 to Matt Carpenter. And he takes a letter high changeup for a strike. 1-2.
How about using all your weapons here in the first inning for DeGrom?
Yep.
Usually when you watch him, it's plenty of fastballs in the first. A little different approach.
He hasn't found the range on his changeup yet, but his slider is really nasty so far this first inning.
1-2. Carpenter hits the first fair ball. Gonzalez sweeps it up. 3-1 put out to retire the side. A strong first inning for Jacob deGrom as he sets him down in order. Mets come to bat with no score. Let's take a look at the Geico Mets starting lineup, and if you look closely, there's something historic in there. As Drupal Cabrera batted cleanup on opening day, he's hitting leadoff today. It's the first time anybody's done that in a team's first 2 games since Joe Schultz Sr. for the 1915 Brooklyn Dodgers.
Wow.
Cleanup first game, leadoff second game. Now, is that the best trivia you'll hear all day? And you know who Joe Schultz Sr. was? He was the father of Joe Schultz Jr., who was immortalized as the manager of the Seattle Pilots in the book Ball 4. As Cabrera fouls off the first offering from Michael Walker.
Here's the Land Rover above and beyond numbers for Michael Walker. 12 wins last year. Started his career 26-14. And I told you he had an injury, and it's been 19-16 ever since.
Quickly 0-2 on Cabrera. By the way, first time as Drupal has led off since 2015. Last year, a .351 on base percentage, which was his highest since 2009. So with Brandon Nimmo not playing today, he was the next choice for Mickey Callaway to be the leadoff man.
Cabrera was the only Met yesterday in the starting lineup that did not get a hit. 0 for 4, looking for his first hit of the season.
If you don't know Michael Walker, he has a delivery which is straight over the top with his fastball 95+. He'll cut that fastball once in a while, a parachute, good changeup, and a straight over the top 12-6 curveball.
There's the curveball. You saw the changeup on the previous pitch. Probably the reason why Walker has backwards splits. He's better against left-hand hitters than he is against right-hand hitters, and probably at his best against Jay Bruce. See Bruce's numbers in a moment. He's had a devil of a time against Walker. As Cabrera, after falling behind 0-2, works the count full. Michael Walker, now 26 years old, first round pick in 2012 out of Texas A&M, and he was in the big leagues the very next year. That's ripped into right field, and Cabrera has a leadoff hit. That'll go to the wall. And Cabrera cruises in with a leadoff double.
So Keith, unlike the leadoff hitter Fowler that DeGrom chose to change up, Walker went with a fastball 3-2.
Well, he missed with his secondary pitches, and this is right down the pipe. And this is now Met leadoff hitters. I know we're very, very young in the season, but
you're saying it's a small sample size, Keith? A
small sample size. 5 out of 6 times they've reached base in the leadoff spot. Nimmo yesterday got on base 4 times in 5 at bats.
So the Mets, who got a run in the first inning on Thursday, have a runner in scoring position to start Saturday. And here's Cespedes, who drove in 3 runs in the opener. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Cespedes 2 for 5 in that game, and as Keith chronicled during our open today, both those hits came on 0-2 pitches.
He had himself a good spring. He looked ready to go 2 weeks prior to the season.
Well, what was most encouraging about Cespedes is that he realized that he needed to change things up in the offseason, and he did. He did more running, he did more hydrating, he did less powerlifting. And you hope that it pays off in a fully healthy season, because if it does, it makes all the difference in the world for this team.
You know, you can talk about the pitching all you want, and it's a big strength of this Mets team. But if Cespedes only plays 81 games again, you're going nowhere. Simple as that.
You need to keep Cespedes and Conforto in the lineup together as much as possible. And there's a chance, good chance, they may hit 1-2 in the order.
Yes.
Conforto first, Cespedes second, which, you know, it's a different kind of a look that most teams might have tried in the past with their best 2 hitters, but it gives you a chance to get off to really fast starts every day.
Remember, first start for any pitcher, you're just coming out, you feel so good, you feel like you can throw 100 miles an hour. That's not always a good thing. Sometimes you forget the location.
Carlos Martinez walked 6 in his start the other day. And he walked Cespedes to put 2 men aboard with nobody out.
And the Cardinal Jeep in starting infield. Same crew last time. Jose Martinez made a very critical error in that game opening day that cost a couple runs. Got the Mets on the boards. Gary mentioned earlier Dexter Fowler's second start in his whole career in right field, and Ozuna, the last year's Gold Glover, out there in left.
So the Mets are the first 2 men on, and now Jay Bruce against Waka. It's not been a good combination for Bruce. He's just 1 for 28 in his career against Michael Waka. Faced each other a lot when Bruce was in the National League Central playing for the Reds. Bruce went 1 for 3 on opening day, drove in a run, and he takes a fastball strike, 1-1.
Now he's seen 2 of his 3 pitches now. He's got a 1-1 count.
So why do the analytics reward but they don't cost you when you have a large sample size of inefficiency against the pitcher still stay in the 3rd spot?
That's a question you might want to ask the manager.
There we go. Can't overthink it.
It's busy right now.
Jeez. Ooh, good pitch right there. Little cutter. Inside corner. Paralysis by analysis. Did I hear it? Does that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell?
That's my mantra.
Walk ahead in the count, 1-2 on Bruce. And goes to the changeup and misses, 2-2.
There's one hitter, and the only reason I know this number is because he says it to me every time I see him. Mark Grace, one of the fine players for the Cubs and Diamondbacks. I believe his numbers were 1 for 28 off me. And the only reason I know that is every time I see him, he says 1 for 28 to me every time.
That's very kind of him. He doesn't have to do that.
No, he says it very angry.
Grounded down to third. Carpenter takes it to the bag. The running throw wide. And Bruce is safe at first. Holding at second is Cespedes. Carpenter could have had a 5-4-3 double play if he just got rid of that ball quickly. He had a long run to the third base bag, and that cost him a chance for 2.
A poor choice by Carpenter here. You got to go 5 around the horn here. That's too far to run, and a throw on the run. It's just that was a poor choice.
And also talking to the St. Louis people, Carpenter does not have 100% arm right now.
Well, we saw that the other day. He seemed to be struggling with his throws.
Gosh darn, you need a double play right there.
So Cespedes at second, Bruce at first with 1 out. Here's Todd Frazier, 1 for 4 on opening day. And Frazier drives one down the left field line. That'll go to the corner and bring in the game's first run. Cespedes is in. Bruce being waved around third. The relay throw to the plate by DeYoung on a hop, not in time. Throw to third. Frazier arrives safely, and it's 2-0 New York. Aggressive third base coaching by Glenn Sherlock. And the Mets get 2 on the double by Frazier to take an early 2-0 lead.
First ball fastball hitting right down the pipe, belt high. Frazier all over it here. Rips it down the left field line. And Gary, you are correct. Glenn Sherlock very aggressive here. And you see the back runner here, Bruce. He can run. And he gets the go ahead. Excellent aggressive third base coaching by Sherlock, and a good back end on Frazier going to third. Very heads up.
This is one of the mantras from Mickey Callaway during spring training. We are going to be an aggressive base running team. We're not the fastest team, but we're going to be a good base running team. Infield in, Travis d'Arnaud lines one to Carpenter, and Frazier able to get back safely. A hard second out off the bat of d'Arnaud.
So a lot of first pitch hitting by the Mets here. This was a bullet off a hanging breaking ball. Good base running again by Frazier. Doesn't get doubled up. All the Mets run so far this year without a home run, and a lot of taking of the extra base, which to me makes exciting baseball.
So now 2 out, and here's Adrian Gonzalez. 2 for 3 and an RBI, on base 4 times opening day, and the first pitch curveball popped up into center field. And Tommy Pham edges over to get it, and that retires the side. But the Mets cash a pair. Cabrera starts it with a double. Frazier drives in 2 with a double. 2-0 New York after 1. Jacob deGrom staked to a 2-0 lead. Marcell Ozuna leads off in the second for St. Louis. Ozuna 0 for 4 on opening day in his Cardinals debut after an enormous year for the Marlins last year.
He struck out 3 times yesterday. Opening day.
Cardinals gave up 4 players to get Ozuna, and they have put him in the cleanup spot, and they'll likely leave him there all season after his 37 home run year in Miami.
There's the first really good changeup that deGrom's thrown for a strike. Got good late sink on it, but under the bat of Ozuna.
Jose Martinez on deck, and Ozuna gets jammed and grounds one down to Frazier. 1 out. 1 out and nobody on. Jose Martinez coming up. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Gary, Keith just mentioned the changeup, that good changeup. Jacob deGrom has thrown 7 of them so far here early in this game, and that's no surprise. He put a real re-emphasis on that pitch in spring training. deGrom feels like the changeup is his second best pitch when it's on, but last year, too often he felt out of whack with his mechanics. The ball was floating in the zone, and so he kind of shied away from it, used the slider a little bit more last season, but like I said, emphasized it a lot in spring training and plans on really trying to establish that pitch early this season.
Threw the changeup 12% of the time last year, the slider 23% of the time.
Yeah, that's how things have changed. I was always taught when I was coming up, you do not throw a changeup down and into right-handed hitters, because all they got to do is drop the bat head on it and it's out of the ballpark. So it was a thing I was taught that now pitchers are doing differently.
I always felt the off-speed pitch should be thrown away and down.
Hard to throw a changeup from a right-hander away and down to a right-handed hitter. Very difficult.
Jose Martinez takes below the knees, and it's 2-1. Martinez had the best day of any Cardinal, at least with the bat, on Thursday. 3 for 4, including a home run. He's now reached base going back to last year in 28 straight games. He was a big mid-career surprise for the Cardinals last year. He shoots one foul. It's 2-2.
Well, he solved Syndergaard yesterday, Martinez. Went 3 for 3 off him with the home run. Syndergaard, interestingly enough, said after the game that he let Martinez get too comfortable at the plate, and that won't happen again. Wow, that's a strong statement.
Well, from a pitcher on a staff that intends to be throwing inside a lot this year. Late swing foul. I mean,
yeah, it's
going all the way back to Syndergaard and Alcides Escobar in the World Series.
Yeah, I mean it's great posturing to say that, and this is the home run that Martinez hit yesterday.
That down and in little sink. He dropped the barrel, as you said right there, Ron. A little down and in, just dropped the barrel on it.
Martinez lunges, Frazier charges, bare hands, can't get him. And Martinez has an infield hit.
He runs pretty good for a tall, lanky guy.
Playing way deep, almost on the outfield fringe. And he wouldn't have had him in one way or the other. I like the way the Mets are performing thus far. Got a lot of energy, a lot of bounce to their step.
Frazier plays as deep as we've seen Reyes play at third base, right? He's all the way back there against the right-handed hitters. I mean, not right now, first pitch to Yachty, but he'll back up with 2 strikes.
Molina homered off the foul pole for the Cardinals' first run on Thursday. And he takes outside from DeGrom for ball 1. So you were talking, Ronnie, about Syndergaard talking publicly about not letting Martinez get too comfortable.
Yeah, and I've heard the pitching coach Dave Island talk about it also. I would just say this, is that it's more important to keep the lid on that. There's no reason to come out to the press and say what you're going to do in the future, because if you have intention to do it, there's no reason for the hitter to know that. I think a lot of times, you know, it's kind of puff your chest out kind of deal, and you know, this is what I'm going to do next time. Just, hey, he's a good hitter, he got me, and then next time you face him, you let him know. There's no reason to let anyone else know except the people that you play with.
But in a somewhat different context, didn't Syndergaard succeed when he did that in the World Series?
He absolutely did, and Escobar, after someone threw at my coconut, he should have went out and got him, and then see what it would have been like.
I also think it's part of Syndergaard, his image. He's trying to intimidate and see if he can intimidate. He has that aura. He's a big guy out there.
Yeah, be a hard guard, not charge. But
I wouldn't charge. You always get you get even with the bat. You get even the next time you're up.
Molina fouls back the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Personally, I've always found the toughest guys, the guys who say nothing. Those are the guys to be worried about.
I never charged anybody. The closest I came to charging somebody was the Nasty Boys, the left-hander, Charlton.
Oh, Charlton.
He hit me on purpose in Cincinnati one time. And I almost went after him.
Now,
but I didn't.
Now, you know, the most notable, I don't know if headhunter is the right word, but guy who would pitch inside with a purpose when you guys were playing was Nolan Ryan.
Yes.
It's popped up by Molina. With the angle is Cabrera looking through the sunglasses and reels it in fair territory for the second out.
Good play there through the sun. Had to go a long way for it, playing up the middle.
Had his glasses on, uses that throwing hand.
Eyes start tearing up sometimes when you're looking straight into that sun for a long time.
So Nolan Ryan would throw inside with a purpose. I got the impression he didn't talk very much, but he'd stalk around quite a bit.
He was the closest thing to John Wayne on the baseball field, let me tell you.
It's Paul DeYoung. And you mean by that?
Oh, beating you outside in the street in a western town, have a gunfight.
But did he
talk? He would storm around the mound. He would strut around the mound.
Did he talk though?
Nope. Nolan never talked. He never threw at me.
Quick 2 strikeout to DeYoung.
I was on a team with Willie Wilson, tried to bunt the first pitch, bunted it foul. The next pitch, Nolan hit him on the right kneecap. Willie was out for 3 months. I mean, it was blatant, and you could hear the bone crack from the dugout.
Arno sets up inside, and DeYoung goes down on strikes to end the inning. 3 pitches, and DeGrom takes care of DeYoung, wins the battle of the does.
Up and in. Good pitch.
Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get New York Mets home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Juan Lagares getting the start on day 2. Had a pinch hitting assignment, hit into a double play on Thursday.
Matt Carpenter at third. You can drop a bunt down that third base line, and with Lagares' speed, you can just not even get it out of third gear.
Walker drops the curveball in for a strike, 1 and 2.
Unless the guy was a very good bunter, I never worried about him after 1 strike bunting, because you want to bunt before you get to 1 strike, because that gives you 2 left in case you bunt it foul.
Broken back grounder, and DeYoung comes in to get it. And Lagares retired 1 away. So for all the work that Juan did during the offseason to try to get more balls in the air, his first 2 at bats of this year, 2 balls on the ground.
Well, he did not have a good spring either, Gare, and I didn't see much of a difference. You know, he was working on launch angle, and I didn't see much of an uppercut, to be honest with you.
You know, we don't hear the stories about the people that do not benefit from the launch angle and their careers are ruined.
Or at least derailed somewhat. I mean, you know, in Juan's case, he's trying to take himself from being a part-time player to be a full-time player. But look at Matt Carpenter with the Cardinals. He's publicly acknowledged that trying to sell out to launch angle last year cost him what he felt was his best, what would have been a better season.
And remember, one thing is that this is relatively new now, the launch angle. So you have these young men that have swung the old way, the old philosophy. Now you're teaching new tricks. I think as the generations coming up that are now, when they're in Little League with launch angle, they're going to have that. That's going to be their swing. And that's when I want to see where the strikeouts go.
DeGrom rolls one out to second, and Wong throws him out 2 away. But I think it's also identifying the right guys, right? Because while there are certain guys who might benefit from the steeper launch angle, there are other guys who might be better served, like a D. Gordon hitting the ball on the ground using his
certainly.
And I think that Brandon Nimmo, he's a big guy, and he can hit. If I get 15 home runs out of Brandon Nimmo, I'm happy with that. He's a table setter. You want him to hit line drives and ground balls. It's your big guys like Cody Bellinger is a prime example.
Ahmed Rosario hitting 9th for the 2nd straight game. Had a good opening day. 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Callaway said today that batting the pitcher 8th will not be an everyday thing. It will matter on who else is in the lineup, who's batting leadoff and who's hitting 9th, if the pitcher is hitting 8th, and so forth. He said it doesn't depend at all on the pitcher's hitting ability. So it's not
really
because Syndergaard and DeGrom are 2 excellent hitting pitchers that they've hit 8th the last 2 games.
And let's not forget Steven Matz. He swings a good bat too.
So he's saying that's not the reason at all. It's more to provide more RBI opportunities particularly for Cespedes, who's sitting in that 2-hole.
And
foul.
I think he also mentioned that once you get into the season and certain lineups change or guys get days off, that might push the pitcher back to the 9th slot. Let's say Cespedes has a day off.
I still go back to, in most cases, your pitcher is your least effective hitter.
Yeah.
And if he hits 8th, he gets more plate appearances over the course of the season than the guy hitting 9th. There's ball 4, and Rosario,
how about that?
Drew only 3 walks during his rookie season last year, gets his first of this year.
Showed a very good eye right there.
You're right, Gary, except counter that with not letting your pitchers face the lineup more than 3 times.
Well, but in the case of your best pitchers,
yeah,
right, the Syndergaards, the DeGroms, you're hoping to get them, you know, a 3rd, maybe even a 4th at bat, because you are going to push them further. So I think there are a lot of things to weigh, and I think at this point there's not enough empirical evidence one way or another. I think the sample sizes are still relatively small because, you know, not that many managers have opted to go that way to know which is more effective. Cabrera drilled a double to the right field corner his first time up. Rosario at first with 2 out, and Walker's going to pay attention to him.
Well, Rosario has speed and has the ability to steal, and this is a good situation to try to steal, because if you get thrown out, you got the top of the order coming up. If you're successful, you're in scoring position.
That's had a stolen base on opening day. Of course, it was Jay Bruce. Everybody had that in the pool.
That's right.
That catches the inside corner.
But do you not steal here because the pitcher bats 8 and you want Cespedes to come up with 2 guys on if Cabrera gets a base hit? You know, you don't want to, maybe you don't want to get thrown out. Start it over.
Well, you never want to get thrown out.
That's right.
Well, Rosario's got himself a healthy lead. Changeup misses down, 1-1.
Doesn't have his control yet, Walker, with any of his pitches.
Pretty straight fastball too. And if I'm Cabrera right now with that guy in the on-deck circle with the number 52 on his back, boy, I got good protection.
Foul.
Take a look at Cabrera's front foot. We've got it highlighted for you. Watch him roll over on the swing, because he did not move. Usually when you swing, your toes wind up facing the pitcher, so you're perpendicular to the mound. Not perpendicular. You're running right to the mound. And he didn't roll his foot over, and therefore he didn't rotate it, and that tends to lock your hips up, and you can really sprain an ankle that way.
So the front of your cleat should swivel.
Yeah,
as
when you swing,
okay.
your front foot transfers and points directly at the pitcher. But he's already, look at that angle back right there he's got in his stance. That's extreme.
I mean, Walker's trying to do the right thing. He's up in the count 1-2. He bottoms out a changeup trying to get Cabrera to swing over it. But so far the Mets have been very good at not swinging at that pitch.
Two coming. Bounced over the mound. Wong charging with the tag on Rosario, and that retires the side. A walk and one left after 2-0 New York. Allowed over the first 2 innings. 3 strikeouts. That's 18 strikeouts through 40 batters faced for the Mets pitching staff. It's a pretty good rate.
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Unless you're the Cardinals. And Colton Wong takes the first pitch, curveball for a strike.
Beautiful, nice crowd here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Day games in April. Fantastic.
Mets are playing a lot of day games early in the season. They've got another one tomorrow, another one on Wednesday, 2 in Washington on the upcoming road trip.
That's a good pitch. And that's a ball. Move that hitter off the plate, establish in. You're going to see a lot more of that from Met pitching, and that's the influence of the new pitching coach, Dave Island.
Changeup fouled off.
There's Dave.
Wong gets jammed. Colton Wong 0 for 3 on opening day, coming off his best offensive season. We've been waiting for him to burst out. He's lost his job at times, been sent down, been moved around.
On base percentage, what, 376 you said last year? Boy, that's a big jump.
First round pick back in 2011 out of the University of Hawaii.
He's got all the tools to be a, boy, I hate to put him in this bracket, Altuve kind of player, you know?
He tends to overswing a lot for my taste.
And he foul tips one for strike 3. 4 strikeouts through the first 8 batters for Jacob deGrom.
That's that 4-seam grip right across to make sure that the ball stays true and up in the strike zone and right over the bat.
Now Michael Wacha.
His numbers, his career numbers at the plate are not impressive at all, RJ.
Should be a layup for DeGrom.
I think he's 2 for 46.
15 for 187 in his career.
When we got Frank Viola in a trade, we asked him if he had been DH'd for in Little League.
Now, who would you say was the lighter hitter? And I say that advisedly. Frank Viola or Al Leiter?
You know, I didn't get a chance to see Al hit enough, so I cannot say, but it'd be very difficult for me to think anyone hit less than Frankie V.
Well, you can put them all in the same package. Bundle, do a little bundling.
I think Al had a little more energy at the plate, but you know, Al has energy in everything he does.
Did you say Al had a triple or something?
He did. Saw it with my own eyes. He developed this little timing mechanism where he'd show bunt on every pitch and then pull the bat back.
Yes, I remember that. You're right.
And then one day he lined one to left center with the center fielder playing at Little League depth, and he got 3 bases out of it. Which is amazing because Al not only couldn't hit, but he wasn't very fast either.
Well, I think it would be even hard for Al to stand still in the batter's box at any moment in time. He's a very excitable person.
3-2 to Wacha, and he goes down swinging. So just as Syndergaard did on opening day, DeGrom strikes out 5 his first time through the batting order. Oh, some very dramatic music for the Verizon trivia question.
Oh.
Jake was one of 4 Mets pitchers with more than 100 innings last year. Who were the other 3?
Sounds like Love Boat or something.
Love Boat.
Here's Fowler, who struck out his first time up. Well, strictly off the numbers, Dave Freed tells us that Viola was almost twice the hitter that Leiter was. Frankie V, a lifetime 141 hitter. Now Leiter 085. I wouldn't have guessed at 141.
Sorry,
That's
Frankie
better than
V.
I would have thought.
Well, they both started out in the American League, so they have an excuse.
Fowler struck out his first time up, and DeGrom crowds him with a slider, and it's 2-1. Jake had a late start to his spring training. Birth of his second child, some back stiffness, didn't make his first spring start until March 11th, which cost him a shot at being the opening day starter this year. Expected high-speed pitch. Two to Fowler. Just got a piece of the slider.
We forgot to mention, I don't know if we did, you notice the black patch on the right shoulder there. It is the orange handwriting. It will be worn by the Met players. Rusty Staub, big Rusty, in honor of Rusty, who passed a couple days ago. Very nice.
Nice job getting those patches done in short order.
Way to go, Mets. Way to go, Kevin Kierst.
Oh, look at that.
That's big orange.
And the 80s Rusty Staub uniform hanging in the dugout.
Very nice.
I would have been more inclined to go with the 70s.
That was a nice uniform.
With a little more of a classic look.
Yes. I wish that the road uniform that the 73 Mets had in the 69. I wish we had a chance to wear those. We didn't.
8th pitch to Fowler, and he bloops one to the left side. Bare-handed by Frazier on a hop, and he throws him out. Nicely done by Todd Frazier on a difficult bounce. Ball had a lot of spin on it, and he throws out Fowler to complete a 1-2-3 inning for DeGrom. 2-0 Mets. look.
Funky bounce right there, a little sidewinder. Look at the adjustment, very nice. Caught it in the palm. Now watch him adjust to the throw. Well done.
He'll be up third for the Mets in the bottom of the third. Yoenis Cespedes leads it off against Michael Wacha. Cespedes walked and scored in the first inning. Mets got both their runs in the first on a Frazier double. On a sunshiny day in New York, temperature in the 50s. Perfect day to be sitting out in the sun and watching a ball game.
Absolutely.
Cespedes lunges and bounces one foul.
A little bit mad at himself right there. He chased a bad breaking ball. Got himself down 0-2, but yesterday he was down 0-2 twice. And got base hits.
Did you lose a day somewhere, Keith?
Oh, I'm sorry. Opening day.
I'm just wondering that, you know, maybe.
You know what it was? I did lose it that day because I was so exhausted. I think emotionally with Rusty and everything. I went and worked out at noon. I laid down on the couch at 2 o'clock. The next thing I know, I woke up, it was 4:30. So I didn't lose a day.
There's nothing wrong with a good afternoon nap.
Oh, I hear you.
That's how we start out in life. We should continue that. Very healthy.
Yes, the only thing you need to discontinue, you have dairy when you're young and growing, but you got to get rid of the dairy when you're an adult.
Is that an intolerance problem, or is that some deeper meaning there? I mean, I know you enjoy a good camembert every now and again. 1-2 to Cespedes. And the fastball away from Wacha, 2-2. Jay Bruce on deck, then Frazier for the Mets in the third. Oh, curveball on the outside corner. He got him. Cespedes didn't think so, but Brian O'Nora rings him up for the first out and the first strikeout of the day for Wacha.
That was a good pitch.
Best curveball he's thrown.
See how it comes out of his hand. 12-6.
That's a good pitch.
Doesn't get any better than that.
You can't take that one. That is just too close. He got fooled. That's a pitcher's pitch.
So 1 out now, Bruce. And he hits the curveball into the shift. Long from the outfield grass throws him out, and Jay's now 1 for 30 against Michael Wacha.
About 3, maybe 4 outs he's gotten on first pitch curveballs, which are very rare for hitters swinging a curveball first pitch.
I agree. And he got hurt in that first two-run first inning on first pitch fastballs, RJ.
Yep.
So 2 out. Here's Frazier, who swung at the first pitch he saw and doubled into the left field corner to drive in the only 2 runs of this game. And he runs up the bat handle and takes ball 1. They've got 3 infielders on the left side against Todd. Frazier has a couple of home runs in his career against Wacha. 25 at bats. Changeup misses low and in. 2-1.
Every hitter asking for time. Walker's trying to really work quickly.
Well, we saw Carlos Martinez, the starter for the Cardinals on opening day, working quickly but not particularly effectively. Gets a 3-1 changeup in for a strike, full count. remember from the first time we saw Michael Wacha, that changeup has been a pitch he would throw in any count.
That's right.
Lifted out to right. Fowler shading his eyes. And puts it away to retire the side. And Wacha has his first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. After 3 at Citi Field, 2-0 Mets, and we'll keep it here. Service of the entire military community. Fourth inning, 2-0 New York. Tommy Pham leading off against Jacob deGrom. Pham struck out his first time up today. In fact, he struck out in each of his last 4 plate appearances. It's not quite the golden sombrero. It's like a 2-day hat. Matt Carpenter on deck, then Marcell Ozuna in the 4th as Pham fouls one away.
Pham looks very caught in between. He's kind of stiff. He's been tardy on fastballs.
Rob's given up just 1 base runner over the first 3 innings, and that was an infield single off the bat of Jose Martinez. Just a little slow roller to third that he was able to beat out. But he has thrown a lot more pitches than he would have liked early in this game. 58 pitches through 3, and now a full count to Pham to start the 4th. And there's his first walk of the day. First walk by a Mets starting pitcher this season. So Pham is on to lead off the 4th, and Matt Carpenter coming up. Carpenter grounded out to first base his first time up.
Good seat in the sun. There you go. Those kids love Mr. Matt. And misses.
And Carpenter drops down a perfect bunt. Frazier with the throw, and he got him at first. That's a terrific play by Frazier to get an out on a perfectly executed bunt. We'll see if the Cardinals challenge the call at first.
Carpenter wants a replay. It's not even close.
I thought he was out by a step.
So did I, but
easily.
Nice play. Bobby bunted a little bit too hard.
It was caught awkwardly by Gonzalez, which is the only reason why they might want to challenge it.
OUT.
But he certainly looked like he was out. They're giving him a lot more than 10 seconds to decide.
But that's how the game is that the players are really umpiring before the umpire makes the call because of replay. So that's what the look you get each and every time a play is close.
And I would like to congratulate our official scorer, Jordan Spreckman, who just announced 5-3 put out, no sacrifice.
Wow.
It's the first time in years that I can remember an official scorer not crediting a sacrifice on a bunt that clearly was designed to be bunting for a hit.
He's going to be hated by everyday players everywhere.
Well, I'm sure he'll get a phone call from Carpenter, who will challenge it, but that's the right call.
What?
Here's Ozuna with a runner at second. First time the Cardinals have had a runner as far as second base. So good for you, Jordan.
Can't challenge.
Well, they do all the time now.
Oh, please.
There's a committee and everything now to challenge scoring decisions. Yeah. Ozuna grounded out to third base his first time up. Marcell Ozuna last year, a breakout season. He came on the scene with a burst with the Marlins, but things went backwards for him, and he wound up in the minor leagues. But last year he really had his best season. Silver Slugger, Gold Glove winner, 37 home runs. Fly ball out to right center. Back in the gap is Bruce, and he reels it in for the second out, and Pham will go over to third. So Ozuna still looking for his first hit as a Cardinal. Runner at third and 2 down, and Jose Martinez coming up. Martinez 4 for 5 to start the season after his infield single his first time up today, the only Cardinal hit so far in this game. Where are we shooting from there?
Right field.
Alfred Hitchcock. In reverse. It's like Psycho, that opening scene when in Phoenix, when the camera went into the hotel room through the window. It was in reverse with the pullback. Brilliant. Brilliant.
I just think it's a reminder that there are cameras everywhere.
Yeah, don't we know it?
Rom out of the stretch with a runner at third, and it's lined the other way, and that'll bring in the Cardinals' first run. Martinez with yet another hit. This one goes the other way, and the Cardinals turn a walk into a run. It's now 2-1 New York.
That leadoff walk, more times than not, finds a way to score. And that Martinez here is the first one that got on top of a high fastball. He's got a nice little level swing on that pitch above the belt. That is not a launch angle.
So we can see why they've done everything to reconfigure their infield to get Martinez in the lineup.
They're sacrificing some defense, that's for sure.
Here's Molina, who popped up his first time up.
Got to be careful here with Yadier. He's a very smart hitter. He'll sometimes look for a ball middle of the plate in to try to hit it out of the ballpark.
18 home runs last year and one on opening day here. One on Thursday, as Ronnie noted, was his first in Queens since that fateful night in October of 2006.
What was that pitch? Do you remember what the pitch was? It was a fastball changeup. It had to be one or the other, right? With Aaron?
It's all Hamlin through.
Yeah. I don't remember.
We were
third base line or something, right?
No, we were. At least I was outside of Gate A at Shea, waiting on our rainy podium to do our post-game show.
That's right.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
Watch the abortive rally in the bottom of the ninth.
Shea Bridge.
That's line to the left, and Molina's got a base hit. So 2 straight 2-out hits for the Cardinals.
Well, Molina's a hitter that uses the opposite field well, and when he does that, he keeps that front shoulder in, so it's going to make him, against a right-hander, a good breaking ball hitter. There's a slider right there, and we got a mound visit.
The Mets' first mound visit of the season, and we know that because now we're keeping track.
That's right.
Dave Island will head out to talk to DeGrom, who's given up a walk and 2 hits in this 4th inning.
Interesting. One probably to give him a little bit of a blow, regroup, and he might have spotted maybe a little flaw in DeGrom's delivery this inning and give some words of encouragement, and that's gone. And now he's gone.
Only 5 mound visits to go. 73 pitches for DeGrom, which is only notable because on opening night with the Phillies, Gabe Kapler in his first game as manager took out Aaron Nola with a 5-0 lead after 68 pitches,
right,
and they lost the game. There's been a lot of interesting things to watch over the first couple of days of the season. In fact, the Phillies, they played an 11-inning game last night, used 9 pitchers, 15 pitchers the first 2 games. No team had ever done that before.
And unabashed is Gabe Kapler. He said that he's going by the analytics. We know that he's a former player who has embraced 100% the analytics of how you use starting pitchers. I mean, he honestly is edging closer to like a bullpen game, which you're going to have in Tampa Bay this year.
Right. Tampa Bay is going to have a 4-man rotation with a bullpen game every 5th game. And in fact, they're going to have their bullpen game. Was it today or tomorrow?
I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thought so. Anyway, game it's changing.
You think you've seen it all?
Well, in the case of Kapler, what it appears is that he's trying to play the regular season the way the postseason is now played. And I don't know if you can do that without burning out your bullpen by the end of May.
You can definitely do it if you have enough depth in your AAA to use the 10-day disabled list to your advantage. Just keep shuffling guys in and out.
Fastball thrown by DeYoung, and it's 2-1.
They have a close AAA, right? Isn't it Scranton or
Lehigh Valley?
Sorry, Lehigh Valley. Sorry.
Kapler's going to go by the book. He's going to go by all the matchups, which means there are going to be a lot of games in Philly where they're going to use 6-7 pitchers.
Phillies will be here on Monday. Get ready. 2 on and 2 out. And it's a way to DeYoung, and so DeGrom having trouble putting this inning to bed. Colton Wong would be next. DeYoung struck out his first time up after having that huge performance against the Mets last year in his rookie season. A little late on that fastball, and it's 3-2. Clay Bellinger was the unanimous rookie of the year, but DeYoung finished 2nd in the voting.
Well, 39 home runs and 97 RBI. That'll get you all the first place votes.
Martinez at 2nd, Molina at 1st will be running. 3-2 coming to DeYoung. Popped it up in foul ground. Gonzalez should have room. And Adrian puts it away to retire the side. DeGrom limits the damage to 1 run on the Martinez RBI hit. 2-1 New York in the 4th. More than just a team, but an integral part of life for many fans. On Mets blog, presented by Citi.
By the way, we're not more than anything than a broadcast booth. That's all we got going.
Must be a beautiful day in the city.
Nice job changing the subject. Travis d'Arnaud saw one pitch and lined out to third in his first at bat. d'Arnaud getting the start today after Kevin Plawecki had a fine opening day, getting on base 4 times. It was very interesting today listening to Mickey Callaway talk about how he's going to use his lineups, and particularly the idea of whether he believes in playing the hot hand. He said that he had decided that he was going to play Lagares and d'Arnaud today before the year even began. And that makes sense because you want to get your players in. But I asked him about, you know, down the road, you get a guy who's hot. Do you leave him in the lineup because he's hot, even though the analytics might tell you otherwise? And he was a little ambivalent in his answer.
Yeah, it was almost like there has been a lot of research on the side of that could be a myth, being hot. I think that's what he was letting people know. But then he said because he was a player, he's seen it firsthand, how certain guys get hot and they come to the ballpark and they have a lot of confidence and they got a little jump and a hop in their step, and you know they're going to have a big day. So I guess that's the battle for him, right?
I mean, there is a lot of literature, and I've read some of it, basically saying as d'Arnaud drives one to deep left field, back goes Ozuna near the wall. It's out of here! Travis d'Arnaud with the Mets' first home run of the season. .16 last year, his first in 2018, and d'Arnaud extends the Mets' lead to 3-1.
Well, this ball got out of here in a hurry. Line drive. d'Arnaud, no overswing there. He's a line drive hitter.
Well, 2 at bats, 2 bullets for Travis. And the Mets back to a 2-run lead.
Ball's up in the strike zone. Look at the shoulders, almost level. That's a beautiful follow through. No overswing. That's what d'Arnaud has to stay away from.
Belt buckle right at the pitcher.
That Mets home run means Citi will donate enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. Well, a game and a half in, this shared catching position is working out just fine.
Right. You know, from Mickey's talk this morning, it was almost all I could think about was how Bill Walsh used to script the first 20 plays.
Yep.
That's what it felt like to me. Like the month of April has already been scripted with lineups. Probably hasn't, but that's what it sounded like.
Well, I was about to say I've read a lot of the same literature that Mickey was citing, which basically says there's no such thing as being in the zone. There's no such thing about being hot. That every shot you take on the basketball court, every at bat you take in baseball is a separate event.
Says who?
Well, say the experts who
have never been in the zone,
who look at the numbers over the course of whatever they look to study. But the fact of the matter is that people who played the game, and this is the other point that Mickey was trying to make, can have seen it differently. And so he's battling those 2 ideas in his mind at the same time. As Gonzalez, it's went out to center, and Pham got it figured out in time to make the catch.
He got completely turned around the wrong way there. Watch him. Oh, this is the tail end of it.
Little snow cone too.
There you go. There you got twisted around there.
Keith, you're in the zone for a whole year. What's being in the zone like?
It's like being in a rocking chair. So I beg to differ from the experts.
Let me ask you this, though, because I think this is the kind of thing that plays into it from Mickey's perspective, because he's going to look at, hitters versus pitchers. So if you were in a particularly hot streak and you faced a pitcher who generally gave you trouble? Which took precedence? Did the hot streak take precedence over the fact that whether it was John Candelaria, whoever it was who gave you a particularly hard time, if you were hot enough, did it negate the advantage that he would normally have? I guess that's the question that Mickey needs to answer, right?
And I think what Mickey needs to do is go to his hitters and say, who are the pitchers that give you the most trouble? Give me your pitchers that give you the most trouble.
Garish floats one out to right, and Fowler comes on to get a 2 out.
I want to hear it from the player. If I'm the manager or I'm the hitting coach, who gives you trouble? There are a lot of guys I hit 300 over 300 against, and I didn't like the face, and I was amazed that I hit over 300 against him.
But he's going to go by the numbers, right? He's going to go by the analytics. He's going to go by what hitters. Now you can dig so much deeper, hit better against certain spin rates or styles of pitchers.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got that. But I'm asking you, when you were really hot, were you able to stay hot against guys you normally struggled against?
Yes. It was still a hard day at the office, but you would want me to come up with the game on the line late, or I can win a ball game or bring you back. Now, not everybody's a 300 hitter. There are 220 hitters. I think that in 230, 240, 250, 260 hitters, you can even 270. You can factor that in. I think more so, but you can't take out. And I'm not being contemporary here. Let's just say, Tony Gwynn in a red hot streak. You're going to take him out of the lineup? I don't think so. The guy won seven batting titles.
No, but I think but I think the point you're trying to make is a good one when you're talking about, you know, your average player, not your elite player. You know, when he's on a hot streak, as DeGrom bangs one into center field, that's a base hit for Jake. That keeps the inning alive. First hit by a Met pitcher this year. DeGrom gets it. He had 15 of them last year.
I think a lot of the matchups here is DeGrom nice hitting. He's got a good swing. I mean, you're going to find, I think, a lot of that factoring in on a righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. I mean, I hit left-handers well. I mean, if you wanted to give me a day off, you know, give it to me off of Candelaria or a Langston.
But what if you're red hot?
I didn't ever want to come out of the lineup. I always felt I came to the park, I knew I had my day's work cut out for me, and I was going to go up there and battle. And I hit 240.
Yeah, so you're not a good example. No, seriously. Rosario hits one to shortstop, and DeYoung gets the force to end the inning. It's going to be an interesting conversation, and one that we'll certainly be following as the year goes along. Well, Darno makes the catching tandem look just fine. Big day for Plawecki on opening day, and now Darno homers to make it 3-1.
Well, the changeup the last couple of innings for DeGrom, he's been working on trying to find his spot. Everyone has missed, but it had been down. If you're going to miss with your changeup, you want to miss down. That's great. But I think to confirm Steve's report in which he said that DeGrom loves his changeup as his second pitch, Steve confirmed he has thrown more changeups in this one game in 4 innings than I saw him pitch in any game last season.
It was your G pitch cast. Colton Wong leads off in the 5th and takes low and in for ball 1. Wong struck out his first time up, one of 5 strikeouts for DeGrom today. Pitcher Waka on deck, and then Dexter Fowler in the 5th. And now you got to keep an eye on DeGrom. First start out of the box, up over 80 pitches, working in the 5th inning.
He's getting a little underneath his pitches, and I mean all of them. His slider, changeup, and fastball. Usually when he's at his best, he's got that good downward tilt, and he stands very tall. He's getting a little under it. That's why the ball's up.
Gets that ball in on Wong and gets the pop up to Frazier for the first out. Well, Jacob DeGrom, right from the start of his career, has been one of those guys where even on his worst days, he keeps you in ball games.
Wow.
And it's reflected in those ERA numbers.
Look at Kershaw. Jeez, it's like Secretariat.
Yeah, it's like Tiger Woods in his prime. He'd be 20 under, and the second place player, golfer, would be at 5 under.
Champ. Here's Michael Walker. By the way, speaking of Kershaw, he lost opening day 1-0 to the Giants on a Joe Panic home run. And then yesterday, the second game between the Dodgers and the Giants. This one's popped up into shallow right, and Bruce coming on. 2 out. Joe Panic struck again, this time in the 9th inning. He homers off Kenley Jansen. Becomes the first player in Major League history ever to homer in back-to-back 1-0 wins, and he does it against 2 of the best pitchers in baseball.
How about the 2 Giant starters running up goose eggs? And that was a big concern.
Cueto was perfect for the first 6 last night.
Was the big guy Block was the first guy?
Yeah, Ty Block.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, with Bumgarner and Samardzija out, and their closer Melanson also out, it's huge for the Giants to win those first 2 games without giving up a run.
And on the road.
There's Dexter Fowler. By the way, the Giants are the first team to win their first 2 games of the season 1-0 since the 1943 Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
Fowler rolls one down to Gonzalez.
That hop.
Ball comes up for him. 7-pitch inning for DeGrom, just what the doctor ordered. Halfway through, 3-1 New York.
Yeah, why not?
Somebody needs to bring us a couple of those games.
Oh, with the mustard.
As Dribble Cabrera takes a strike, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, inside baseball here a little bit. Last night, I don't know if anybody saw it, but it was a wild one in Miami. 17-inning game between the Cubs and the Marlins. What a way to start off the season and ruin your bullpen. But according to Elias, it's only the second time it's ever happened this early in a season. The last time was 1969. And I was chatting with Mickey Callaway about the game a little bit. It was interesting to hear how he thinks about it. He saw that and said, okay, how would I manage a game like that? And his conclusions were nothing groundbreaking. Obviously wouldn't want to blow out his bullpen. A guy like Gesellman would probably pitch for a longer period of time. But these are the types of things that Callaway is going to be looking at as a new manager. Not just what's happening on the field in front of him, but elsewhere in the league, and trying to contemplate how he would manage the game if he was in that same spot.
Well, how about this in terms of the way Don Mattingly is going to handle it? Last night, he was forced to use tonight's starter, Odrisamer Despaigne, to pitch the 17th inning because he was out of pitchers. Despaigne wound up getting the win. And as far as we know, because it hasn't been announced otherwise, Despaigne is still going to start for the Marlins in the game tonight against the Cubs. So he's going to pitch the 17th inning on Friday and then start on Saturday.
What's your feeling about that, Ron?
Obviously, Despaigne is not a prospect. If he was a prospect, there's no way he'd get that start. But because he's an arm and a guy that has kind of a rubber arm, we've seen him pitch before, started in San Diego. I wouldn't doubt he'd get the start.
Pham squeezes the fly ball by Cabrera for the first out.
When you came in and got the, was it the win or the save in that Atlanta game on July 4th?
It was neither.
You were, it was neither?
It was I was occupying.
He had a 4-run lead, so, he didn't get the save.
You were how far from your past start? How far? How many days? You remember?
A couple of days, and then I started a couple of days later.
So it didn't bother you being in the middle there?
No, I mean, it was, you know, that was one of those games you wanted to be in.
I think
somehow.
didn't we see Carlos Torres for the Mets pitch in relief one day and start the next day?
Yes, we did.
And I think he went 5 scoreless innings.
Right.
Like that. Here's Cespedes, who has walked and struck out, but it wasn't the first week of the season.
No.
You know.
I don't know if you read a lot of stuff, but I started to read some stuff on Twitter from people that I really respect, and some media stuff, paper stuff, about people thinking about, you know, after 12 innings, just make it a tie. Yeah. There's no reason to go any further than that. And I mean, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's old school. I mean, part of the history of this game, or the history of this ball club, certainly the New York Mets, are some of those historic 20-plus inning games.
Well, I think, aren't they instituting a rule in the minor league?
Yes.
Yeah, where they're putting a runner at second base.
Yes.
When I think from the 11th, either from the 10th or the 11th inning on.
Yep.
Which is like the softball rule.
Right. Not on the major league level.
The Cespedes cracks one to deep left field toward the wall. It's out of here. Yoenis Cespedes with his first home run of the season.
That was a pretty good breaking ball that he golfed out of here.
Mets have homered in each of the last 2 innings. It's now 4-1 New York.
Remember, he struck out Cespedes looking in the last at bat on a breaking ball down and away. Cespedes crowds the plate. He is an excellent, against righty-righty, he's an excellent breaking ball hitter. He leans over that plate, and you're allowing him to extend his hands. He can get that top hand over. And this is a breaking ball right here. It's a little roller, Ron. Not a very, too much plate.
Yeah, too much plate, but it wasn't like it was a hanger, you know. Just the good hitters can hit decent pitches sometimes. You had to go down and get it. No, I'm not saying that it was a great pitch, but what shows the greatness of Cespedes is that he hits it out of the ballpark.
And we've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a tremendous breaking ball hitter.
But when you crowd the plate, as he does, he stands on top of the plate, the barrel of your bat is going to cover that outside corner.
6 home runs in spring training this year, his first in the regular season. But Norris gets up in the St. Louis bullpen. So Waka has given up home runs in each of the last 2 innings. And changeup has Bruce out in front, 1-2. Darno homered leading off the 4th. Cespedes homering with 1 out in the 5th. For a Mets team that tied for the league lead in home runs last year, set a club record. And figures to hit a ton of home runs this year as well. Bruce holds the swing, but he went around strike 3.
Fielding
Colbreth punches him out, and Bruce continues to struggle against Waka, now 1 for 31.
Let's take another look here. What do you think, RJ?
I think he went after it, Keith.
Oh.
When I first saw it live, I did not think he did.
Just the 2nd strikeout of the day for Waka. And now Todd Frazier, who got the Mets started with a 2-run double in the 1st. And takes the cutter off the plate for ball 1.
It's interesting. When Waka first came up, he had impeccable control with that straight fastball. So he's developed this cut fastball. As you see, the defense pulled over to pull against Frazier. So he has a cut fastball now, but he doesn't have the same control of his straight fastball that he had before. So he's got 2 pitches that are midland as opposed to before when that fastball was A+.
I think he's lost a little off his fastball too.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
He's not throwing as hard as he used to, and that makes the difference.
Popped up in foul ground. Martinez struggling with it, and it lands on top. You could see that he never felt comfortable with that.
Well, nothing's more embarrassing than to drop a pop-up or flub one like that in front of 45,000 people.
No error on the play.
Tough Sunday on a Saturday.
So Frazier gets new life and works the count full. Seventh full count of the day for Michael Waka. And he hits the bat.
Yeah,
I think he hit the knob of the bat, right?
Yeah, I thought he hit the knob of the
Oh,
bat.
I think
The home plate umpire is saying it hit his hand.
I thought I heard the sound of the bat.
Well, a lot of times the hitter's hand comes over the end of the bat, so it might have hit both.
Well, Brian O'Nora called it a hit by pitch, and Frazier certainly is selling it as such.
He's hurting.
And Brian Chickalow, the trainer, is out along with Mickey Callaway to see if Todd's okay.
And you certainly hope there's nothing broken there.
Just read that Delano DeShields of the Rangers broke the hamate bone in his hand on a similar play.
That kind of fleshy part below the fingers on the outside of the hand, most hitters, left hand, that fleshy part will kind of stick over the end of the knob of the bat. So that's why you can hear the ball hit the end of the bat, but the hand at the same time.
Well, listen to it and hear how it sounded. I mean, that sounds like a bat sound.
It does.
But where's his hand? Yep, got the hand on the way through. Appears to be the right call. Meanwhile, Mike Matheny is on his way out to the mound. Frazier's going to stay in and take his place at first base. Matheny has Bud Norris ready in the bullpen. No sign as yet. Now he takes the ball. That's the universal sign. And that'll be all for Waka. He's out after 4 2/3. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 4-1 Mets in the 5th. We'll be right back to Citi Field. guaranteed 8 warm-up pitches from the mound anymore. Once that countdown clock runs out, their warm-up pitches must come to an end.
And there's less time in between innings now, right, this year than before. Did you see the numbers with the Angels last year for Bud Norris in 60 games?
I think the inning breaks are about the same.
About
I
the
think
same?
they're just enforcing it more diligently. Norris, one of those guys who hung around on the free agent market for a long time, didn't sign to the middle of February. Comes in to face Travis d'Arnaud. He's hit 2 bullets today, a line out to third, and then his first home run of the year. His last time up in the 4th. So Waka goes 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs so far, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 95 pitches in those 4 2/3. Last year it took Travis d'Arnaud until August 8th to hit his first home run at Citi Field. His first 9 home runs last year came on the road. That's in the dirt. Frazier thought about it, stopped, and then restarted, and he goes down to second. Decision by Frazier, but Molina was not going to get to it quickly, and so Frazier moves up.
Saw 2 days ago Struble Cabrera take advantage of a ball in the dirt to Molina, took 2 extra bases, and now Frazier heads up. These are the things that you see early on during a year, and you like to see if it's going to happen all year long.
As we mentioned earlier, there was a huge emphasis in spring training on base running, and it's certainly an area where the Mets were lacking last year. I guess the question is, how do you reinforce that during the year? Is it a message that has to continue to be sent, or is a tone set and then everybody follows?
Well, my history of watching the game is that from the booth is that everyone's pretty gung-ho through April, and then the little nicks and cuts that happen during the season slow guys down, make them less aggressive.
And the cutter in there for a call third strike. And d'Arnaud is caught looking to end the inning. So Norris comes in to get the 3rd out, but the Mets add a run on a home run from Yoenis Cespedes. Went down to get that slider and whacked it out of the ballpark for his first of the year. Mets lead at 4-1 after 5. Sixth inning, Jacob deGrom still out there after a 7-pitch fifth. He'll face Tommy Pham now with a 4-1 lead. Pham walked and scored the only St. Louis run in the fourth.
92 miles per hour in that fastball from Jacob as his 87th pitch. This is probably his last inning. Want to finish strong.
Let's have action going in the bullpen as he gets the changeup in for a strike. Robert Gazelman, who had a spectacular inning on opening day, is the first man up.
Well, Gazelman rediscovered his sinker in spring training, and he's got more confidence throwing that sinker. That's a big weapon for him, particularly against the right-hand hitters.
Two and two to Pham. Matt Carpenter on deck, then Marcell Ozuna. 2, 3, and 4 in the Cardinals batting order. Top toward third. Frazier near the bag. Tough play. Running throw is into the runner. Pham will take off for second. Cabrera sliding after it, but Pham in standing at second base. Infield hit for Pham and a throwing error on Frazier to put a runner in scoring position.
Swinging bunt here. Frazier coming in. Had to negotiate the bag. Does not get the good throw there into the runner.
I don't think he had any chance to get Pham at first. Maybe.
Would have taken a perfect throw. So the Mets are charged with their first error of the season. Pham at second with nobody out. Carpenter the batter. He's 0 for 2. Takes a fastball for a strike. Carpenter last time up laid down what looked like a perfect bunt along the third base line, and Frazier hurried in nicely and threw him out. Carpenter has vowed to become the line drive hitter that he used to be this year. Half swing, and he went around.
Absolutely. Tied him up upstairs. Little life on this fastball. I think tied up Carpenter, snuck it by him.
Carpenter hit 23 home runs last year, but batted just .241. And he was not happy with that after trying to become more of a launch angle guy.
More of a walk machine guy last year, right?
He had a .384 on base percentage. Nothing to be ashamed about there. DeGrom's ahead of him 0-2. And that's pulled foul. Nice play off the netting by the ball boy. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Jacob deGrom threw over 200 innings last year. 3 other Mets had more than 100, and they were Gazelman, Montero, Lugo. Montero out for the year this year with torn UCL. He's going to have to undergo Tommy John surgery. Seth Lugo's in the rotation. He'll make his first start Tuesday night against the Phillies, and Gazelman we've already seen. Strike 3 call. Now looking at a backdoor slider. I think Carpenter thought it was high, but that's the first out of the inning and the 6th strikeout for deGrom.
Well, Brian Honora has been very aggressive. He's not afraid to punch you out. But I think you're right. Carpenter thought that ball was up.
I did not think it was up. I mean, really, I think deGrom wanted that pitch down in the strike zone. But he missed up, but it was, I thought it was at the letters.
So that's the first out of the inning, and now Marcell Ozuna is grounded out and flied out. 0 for 6 to start the season. Pham at second and 1 out.
So that graphic we had about the 3 other pitchers of 100 innings, and deGrom's the only one who went over 200. Team won the World Series last year, the Houston Astros. Mike Fiers, who wasn't on their postseason roster, had the most innings by any pitcher on that team, 153.
Yeah, it's amazing. They did not have a single pitcher qualify for the ERA top. You need 162. They might have to rewrite some of the rules. Strike 1-1.
Well, you wait till they change it to 4 innings. You can qualify for a win. That's going to come someday.
Well, that's the prelude to instituting 7-inning games.
This has really been a labor for DeGrom. Remember now, he missed time early in spring with the back issue, so he didn't get the work that the other starters did in spring training, the innings. So I'm sure he's close to 100 now.
Last year didn't get to 100 pitches till his 4th start of the year, closing in on 100 today. And Ozuna takes a slider for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Well, I think
Wouldn't be shocking if this is his last bat.
I think, though, if he gets Ozuna, because of who he is, he might get one more guy, even though Martinez has 2 hits in the game, to try to get out of the inning.
2-2 coming. Off the fists, a foul ball.
Good pitch right there. Basically a lot of sliders to Ozuna, and goes after him up and in with the fastball. 2-2. Just kind of barely stayed in the at bat.
One thing you don't see much anymore is the doubling up in, Keith. Fastball in, go follow it up. Usually it's fastball in, breaking ball away.
I think it's a good time to double up.
I agree.
On the outside corner, strike 3 call. Strikeout number 7 for Jacob deGrom, and that'll be the last pitch he throws today. So deGrom strikes out Carpenter and Ozuna back-to-back. Gets over 100 pitches for the afternoon, and Mickey Callaway will send him off to an ovation. Successful opening day start for Jacob deGrom. Gazelman coming in. We'll be right back. Stroke. Nats haven't given up a run yet. 6 scoreless for Scherzer yesterday. Strasburg today up 4-0. Robert Gazelman in after striking out the side on opening day.
Be kind of curious to see. Then this is a sinker ball pitcher, and we saw what Martinez did with a down and in fastball off of Syndergaard. He had a home run here, so it's kind of a good matchup for Martinez.
Martinez 5 for 6 to start the season. Pham at second and 2 out, and a fastball strike. 1-1.
Well, that's last season. Struggle early, middle, sent down, pitch well, much better late.
And now a new role as a reliever, at least for the moment.
I think that Gazelman learned a lot from last season,
including how to respond to comments by the general manager.
Yeah. But you know, he had so much success the year before, and he was a vital part of that wild card team. He and Seth Lugo. And sometimes it happens to a lot of young players. You know, you just think it's going to keep rolling, and like everyone else, you get humbled at times.
And that just misses below the knees. 3-1.
Got to have that pitch. It was a good pitch.
Jose Martinez has 5 hits in these first 2 games. The rest of the Cardinals have 5 hits. Trying to pick up Pham from second with 2 out. Yadier Molina would be next. And Gazelman pours in a strike. 3-2.
Interesting. He challenged him on a 3-1 count, and Martinez didn't take a hack.
Boy, that's always a 3-1 count fastball. That's the hitter's delight.
That's why he played the game, isn't it?
Three-two coming.
Yeah.
Struck him out. Gazelman comes right after Jose Martinez and fans him. He's faced 4 in 2018, and he struck them all out. 4-1 Mets after 6. Job well done for DeGrom.
Another
on day one.
One of those grinding starts for DeGrom we've seen over the years when he struggles, And he struggled in this start, but he fights through it. He has that ability to bear down. Love that quality.
Adrian Gonzalez leads off in the home 6th. And takes a strike. Adrian's flat out to center field in both his at-bats today.
So all the outfielders lifting their glove, trying to block out the sun before the first pitch was thrown in this inning. So maybe the sun is going to be a factor here.
Well, you can tell by the shadows that the right field is going to be a bear.
Well, April is harder, right, in terms of the shadows.
Late September, though, it gets tough too.
Right.
More center field, right?
But as opposed to midsummer, it seems like April is more of an issue with the angle of the sun. Gonzalez tries to lay off and does.
Well, you can see the shadows on the players. It is right there, the center fielder. You can see that sun's over the third base dugouts and make it real tough on right fielders.
Gonzalez 0 for 9 in his career against Bud Norris. And he runs that cutter inside. It's 3-1. Juan Lagares on deck, then the pitcher's spot. City probables for the final game of the series tomorrow. Steven Matz goes for the Mets. Luke Weaver, who had a really good rookie year, goes for the Cardinals. They really need Weaver to pitch up to that level. 3-1 coming. That's pulled into right field, and now Gonzalez has a hit against Norris.
KG veteran works the count, gets it in his favor, starts it early, and all over that fastball.
Good pitch to hit out over the plate, up.
And Norris was so annoyed with himself. Just waved his hand in disgust.
All the hitting woes of Adrian on spring training, he looks like he turned it on at the right time.
3 for 6 to start the regular season. Now Juan Lagares up for the 3rd time, grounded out and flied out his first 2 at bats. That's now with 6 hits for the afternoon. And Robert Gazelman is on deck to bat for himself. There is warm-up action in the Mets bullpen, though.
Well, he is the quintessential long man. Starting pitcher, can be your swing starter like the good old days.
And unlike when he first came up 2 years ago, he can swing the bat. AJ Ramos up in the bullpen.
Lagares with an extra base hit here, 2nd and 3rd. Go to a pinch hitter, I think.
Juan fouls off the cutter, and it's 0-2.
I always try to wonder what I see when I watch Juan. And you always talk about mechanical. It's almost like his stride. He jams himself a lot.
He's a very stiff hitter. He's not a rhythmic hitter, and I just know he's a very serious guy. I think his wheels are churning up there, I think, too much. When you're struggling, it's hard to clear your head.
There you go. He lofts that one into right center for a base hit. Gonzalez to 2nd. He's going to try for 3rd. Here comes Pham's throw across the diamond. It gets there in time, and Gonzalez is out. Well, the Mets are trying to push the envelope in terms of taking the extra base, but that might not have been the best decision with the slow-footed Gonzalez trying to go 1st to 3rd, and Pham guns him down.
It almost looked like Pham didn't think, he kind of got caught asleep. He did. And that made it a closer play. You can't assume. And that's close at 3rd. And on the backside, Lagares advancing to 2nd base.
Well, I don't know about you, Keith. I was shocked he tried to go first.
I was shocked too. But as a fielder, Gary, you cannot assume. But I'd rather see that. I love the aggressiveness I'm seeing.
Especially with a 4-1 lead, right?
Well, you know, with the pitcher on deck, you stop at 2nd. Now Gazelman can bunt them over.
Yep, I agree. I agree. It was, and Adrian's not never has been a good runner, and certainly, at his age, has lost a couple steps. And that play was in front of him. That was his choice. And Juan always hustling, always alert. It's good to see Juan get a base hit.
Gazelman taps one slowly. Norris off the mound. And that's the second out as Lagares goes to third. So a 2-out RBI chance for Rosario coming up.
So I was just thinking, Gary, you know, you're absolutely right. It wasn't the right time for Adrian to go, but you know, if you're going to preach that,
right,
you're going to see some of that, right?
Well, that's, you have to take the bad for good, and I fully am on board with the idea that you want to be aggressive, but you know, sometimes you got to pick your spots.
And now he's asking some of his coaches, what do you think? It's a good decision, bad decision? Well,
that's his hitting coach. I wonder if he's just talking. Oh, there might be some things that Gonzalez has told Pat Russler, or the Mets hitting coach, to look at, make sure that I'm, you know, did I overstride? Is my bat barrel coming over my head? That was my particular thing that I told Bill Robinson, make sure I didn't get the bat in front of my head when I started my swing, the end of my bat.
Russler elevated to hitting coach this year. He was the assistant to Kevin Long, who's now the hitting coach with the Nationals. Rosario swings through the fastball, and it's 0-2. Ahmed is 0 for 1 today. Drew a walk in the second inning and then grounded into a fielder's choice in the fourth. Cardinals have a lefty, Ryan Sheriff, who was just recalled today, up in their bullpen. And Rosario reaching for the fastball, strikes out to end the inning. So the Mets waste a chance in the 6th. On to the 7th we go at Citi Field with the Mets up 4-1. Yadier Molina on Thursday, starting his 14th straight opening day for the Cardinals, and his manager Mike Matheny talked to Steve Gelbs about Yadi's value.
You know, the thing that we appreciate inside and behind the scenes are all the things that don't necessarily have a category in the statistic book, and the analytics really just can't find a way to value when you have a player with Yadi's baseball IQ. And I think you couple that with there's a selflessness that certain players have, where they understand they've been given a lot of positive things that have helped them develop in their game, and then they figure out, how am I going to share those? And even when something might not be going real well for you, you have certain players that decide, I feel like I can influence this game by helping somebody else do something a little bit better. And that's, to us, that's a culture issue, and it's a culture thing that we have here, and Yadi's been a big part of that for a long time.
And he tacks on a base hit, his second of the day. First base runner that Gazelman has allowed this season, a leadoff single in the 7th.
Well, it's something that Yadi has done his career. He's a good opposite field hitter, line drive hitter, not a lot of power. And I think that little soundbite we had from Mike Matheny, there are players, and I've said before many times, that all they bring to the ballpark is what they do on the field. There's so much more that you can add and be helpful to help the team, and Molina is proof positive of that. He's one of those guys that's giving, and you can help a lot of people along the way.
Anthony Swarzak, Jerry Blevins up in the Mets bullpen. Let me ask you this, Ronnie, because you had a catcher in Gary Carter who was able to push a pitching staff, and Molina is very much the same way. How much do you think the new rules on mound visits will have an impact, if at all, on Molina and his ability to help his pitcher?
I think that Yadi is so intelligent that he'll figure out a way to communicate with his pitchers from right behind the plate.
DeYoung bangs one into center field, and the Cardinals have something working here in the 7th. Back-to-back base hits against Gesellman. And the tying run will come to bat.
Well, the Met bullpen has been up. Got two people out there warming up. Good base, good hanging slider right there. Nice hitting by DeYoung. Callaway is not going to let this game get away from the Mets if he can help it. He's got two arms up there ready to go.
Now you got Blevins up, but I don't think this is the spot that you use Blevins against Colton Wong. I think you'd rather save him from Matt Carpenter.
That's down the road for you're always thinking 2, 3, 4 hitters ahead. He will definitely, if Carpenter hits this inning, he will definitely be the man.
You got a left-hand hitter on deck and Greg Garcia to pinch hit for the pitcher. But it's going to be Gesellman to stay on against Wong with first and second and nobody out. Wong has struck out and popped up today, 0 for 2. And he tries to push a bunt, and it goes foul. Again, bunting for a base hit, just as Carpenter tried and was thrown out of the 4th.
Not a bad choice there by Wong, though, because he has excellent speed. If he made the same bunt that Carpenter did, he'd be safe easily.
Plus, if you're successful, you got the tying runs on base, and now you got a real inning work. And Wong grounds one down to first. Gonzalez's only play is to get Wong. That moves the runners up. Second and third and one out. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break. Let's see what's up, Gary. Well, with the left-hand hitting pinch hitter Greg Garcia coming up, now is the spot that Mickey Callaway will go to the bullpen, but he won't bring in the lefty. He'll bring in the right-hander, Anthony Swarzak. Anthony Swarzak gets the call for the second time in the first 2 games.
Had a strikeout in his inning of work 2 days ago. 70 games last year, split between the White Sox and the Brewers.
Greg Garcia will be the pinch hitter. I don't know if he had been announced before the pitching change was made, but it doesn't matter with the right-hander coming in the game. Garcia 10 pinch hits last year for the Cardinals and takes a fastball away from Swarzak.
I think that it empties the left-handed side of the bench for the Cardinals, and you also got on the right-handed side, you've got Jerko, who's got pop, and a 3-run home run ties the ball game.
So you're saying if they had announced Garcia and brought in Blevins, that Matheny goes to Jerko at the spot?
Absolutely, and that's the one guy I wouldn't want up.
And Swarzak now behind 2-0. The infield's back. They're conceding a run on a ground ball, but Swarzak just trying to find the strike zone now. Dexter Fowler on deck. Got a right-hand hitter than left if you're thinking about lefty-righty switches. Molina at third, DeYoung at second with 1 out. And Garcia takes a strike.
Swarzak so far, saw him pitch a couple times last year for the Brewers, and here after the first inning 2 days ago, he likes to pound those left-handers in with that 4-seamer.
And the slider misses down, and now he's behind 3-1. Swarzak, much traveled right-hander who found his form last year, and that earned him a 2-year deal with the Mets. Behind 3-1. Garcia fouls off the pitch he had to hit.
I'll tell you what, he went right after him. Good cut. Mano a mano there, boy.
What do they call this, Keith? Good old country hardball. Sometimes you just got to go after the hitter.
So after the 3-1 fastball, does he go back to that?
I think he might even opt for a slider. That was a really good cut by Garcia. He was right on it.
And the fastball gets him looking.
What are you looking for?
Well, must have been looking for the slider.
Jeez, come on.
So Swarzak comes right after Garcia after falling behind 3-1 and comes back to strike him out for the second out.
Right after him with the fastball. Boy, you just can't be guessing up there with 2 strikes. Fowler, left-hand switch hitter, excuse me, lifetime a better hitter against left-hand pitching than right-hand pitching. 256 lifetime against the right-handers.
0 for 3 today, 0 for 7 to start the year. Up in a big spot here with 2 in scoring position and 2 out. And Swarzak starts him with a slider for ball 1.
You just see so much of it today. So much guessing with 2 strikes.
But you have to think a lot of it's based on the analytics. Swarzak, a guy who threw his slider more than half the time last year.
In a situation like this, we've got runners in scoring position, Gary, you got to bear down. I'm sorry. This is not gambling in Vegas.
So you're saying you got to hit off the fastball. You got to be
on the fastball and bear down with 2 strikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can see the pitch usage from last year. You just don't see that very often. Guy throwing more breaking balls than fastballs.
So he went with the percentages.
Keep him guessing.
Back to the ATM.
And Fowler takes a slider that just missed. Swarzak wanted that one, 2-1.
Actually, you reach into your wallet and ask for some more chips.
Sometimes you think the ATM is going to give you 20s, and sometimes it gives you 5s.
See Swarzak blowing in his hand. I mean, it's a nice day on the field, but still cold enough that your hands get dry and slick at the same time.
Molina faking down the line from third. And a Fastball strike to Fowler, 2-2.
Good 2-1 fastball there, Ron. Good location. Ball running away. Down and knee-high outside corner.
Don't fault Fowler. That ball is a perfect pitch on the knee.
Exactly.
Full count.
He wanted to come inside and get him.
Well, think about it. He's been living around that 92, 93 on a pitch he needed 96 from Swarzak.
Tommy Pham would be next. Swarzak went 3-2 on Garcia. Got him looking at a fastball. Now he's 3-2 on Fowler. Popped it up. Lagares right there waiting. Side retired. 2 big outs for Anthony Swarzak. The Mets bullpen has not allowed a run yet over the first 2 games. Swarzak bails out Gazelman. Mets lead 4-1 at the 7th inning stretch.
Aha. Fired up.
But an ace on the mound. Jacob deGrom battled his way through 5 2/3. Mets playing long ball for the first time in 2018. Darno and Cespedes in back-to-back innings. And the Mets building a 4-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Box score presented by Humana. Todd Frazier drove in the first 2 runs with a first inning double. The home runs doing the rest on the offensive side. deGrom in the bullpen holding the Cardinals to just 1 run through 7. Left-hander Ryan Sheriff just called up today, comes on to pitch to Cabrera, who dribbles one toward third. Tough play for Carpenter. Bare hands, not in time. And Cabrera's got an infield hit. Cleanup hitter opening day, leadoff hitter today, and he legs out an infield hit, his second of the afternoon.
Well, Carpenter with a nice bare hand here, but swinging bunt, couldn't have put it down better if he dragged it down the line. Clearly beat it out.
By the way, we gave you that note on Cabrera right at the outset today that he's the first guy since 1915 to hit cleanup in the first game of the season, lead off the next day. It had been done in reverse order once.
Oh,
yeah, you
okay.
won't believe who, Ronnie. We played against him.
1989. Tim Raines hit leadoff opening day, clean up the second day for the Expos.
Wow.
Here's Cespedes, who homered his last time up.
Tim Raines, of course, the Hall of Famer. He hit third a lot for that Expo team. He was a hitter. I bet you someone was cleanup hitter that day got hurt or something.
I never faced anyone more in the big leagues than Tim Raines.
He could play.
It's not the guy you want to
No,
face.
it's not fun.
He could do everything.
So you saw Sheriff's numbers. He was just called up because Brett Cecil, who pitched on opening day, went on the disabled list, left shoulder strain. But to get him on the roster, because they had to purchase him from Memphis, he was still down in Jupiter. They had to put Al Reyes on the 60-day DL. He's their #1 prospect.
Coming back from major surgery, Cespedes shoots one foul. Get to Citi Field Saturday night, April 14th. The Mets play the Brewers at 7:10 p.m. You can stay after the game and enjoy a fireworks show that will light up the Citi Field sky. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Sheriff was in 13 games last year for the Cardinals. Still technically a rookie.
Can make his debut late August, 23rd of August.
27-year-old out of West Los Angeles College. Jay Bruce waits on deck. 2-2 to Cespedes. And the slider sits high, full count. Michael Wacha went 4 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits. Bud Norris an inning and a third, no runs, 2 hits. And as Sheriff in the 7th has given up a leadoff hit. And he's worked a full count to Cespedes. Rare not going. Cespedes just got a piece of that slider and fouled it off his leg.
I think he fouled it off his back leg. Could be wrong. Got that big guard on his front leg, but that ball got so deep.
Oh,
Right,
off the
his
knee. That hurts.
Not for nothing, but shouldn't the shin guard match the sleeve?
Well, you know.
No, the sleeve should match the shin guard.
Well, one way or the other. Well, between the shin guard and the sleeve, those would both be delightful colors to paint Easter eggs.
Oh, that's right. Good call, Gary.
Tomorrow is Easter, and ironically, it would be Rusty Staub's 74th birthday.
Sadly.
Or symbolically.
Yeah.
8th pitch to Cespedes, and he takes a slider high for ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on to start the 7th. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Hyundai. Get more than a great deal at the Hyundai Season of More event going on now. Offers end April 2nd. My City preferred card of the New York Mets. And by your Mercedes-Benz tri-state dealers, Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Sam Tuivalala is up in the bullpen for the Cardinals, but the lefty will stay in to face Jay Bruce, who's just happy to have Michael Wacha out of the game. Jay went 0 for 3 against Wacha today. Now 1 for 31 against Wacha in his career. And very happy that he won't have to face Wacha very often this year. Cardinals paying their only visit to Citi Field to start the season. Sheriff quickly gets ahead 0-2. Got two right-hand hitters, Frazier and Darno, up next. So this is probably Sheriff's last batter. Back to the mound. Sheriff knocks it down, has to settle for the out at first. If he plays it cleanly, it's an easy double play. But it has the effect of moving the runners to second and third with one out.
Here comes the skipper. No, not yet.
Maybe the walk.
Are you tempted
walk
by the
Frazier
pass him to first?
Yeah.
The symbol he made to Yachty was down. Keep the ball down. So,
well, they're going to go after him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They have the righty up in the bullpen. They've got two right hitters coming up, and now let's see. They're going to talk this over. You would figure that if they're going to bring the righty in, and they were going to intentionally walk Frazier, that they would let the pitcher on the mound do it and not have. Well, that's right. We don't have intentional walks anymore.
That's
anyway.
right. I think
I was reverting to my 2 years ago mode.
I think what Matheny was. Now that I think back on it, he was slow it down, Yachty. Take our time.
So that gave Tui Vilala a couple of more pitches in the bullpen. He'll come in to relieve Sheriff, and we'll try and get ourselves on the modern day page. You know, we've come so far since the days of the car wash in the Mets dugout. Now it's the salt and pepper grinder.
I'd have to say, out of those salt and pepper grinders, Frazier and Ahmed Rosario don't cook.
Tui Vilala on to face Frazier and gets a slider in for a strike.
Tui Vilala pitched on opening day, gave up a run. See his numbers last season.
Keep up a base hit and 2 walks. That's been his issue, his command.
Also struck out Frazier during that inning, so he gets the call here. And Todd pops one up into shallow left, not very deep. Cabrera tagging at third. Over comes Pham to make the catch, and Cabrera's going to come on home. Heading for third is Cespedes, and he arrives safely. I don't know what Tommy Pham was thinking. Ozuna's got a great arm in left field.
Oh my gosh.
And he took the Cardinals out of the play, and the Mets tack on a run. Unless Ozuna is nursing some kind of arm injury
Yeah.
that we don't know about, this doesn't make any sense.
Ozuna's calling for it. He's got it perfectly lined up for momentum to come home. Pham throws a brutal throw home, and good back advancement on the by Cespedes.
I mean, I might be wrong, but I think that if Ozuna catches this ball, Cabrera doesn't even try to score.
Exactly.
I agree, because the Mets and Cabrera know about Ozuna, his history.
Well, this is what's been going on in St. Louis now for the past 3 years of not that sound fundamental play that the Cardinals have been noted for.
So the Mets add a run. It's 5-1. 2 out and a runner at third for d'Arnaud. Now I wonder, because remember early in the game there was a relay throw from
That's
the left
right.
field corner on Frazier's double, and DeYoung, the shortstop, went out a little further than you'd expect on the relay. Makes you wonder, is there something going on with Ozuna?
Because really, Pham went out of his way to take that ball.
He Kelly leaked him.
Yeah, he did. He did. Hmm.
2-0 to d'Arnaud, homered back in the 4th inning. And he takes a slider inside 3-0.
Well, on the backside, Cespedes is a very, very good base runner, an intelligent base runner. Plays in front of you, ball gets through, you advance. Well done.
And a 4-pitch walk to d'Arnaud. And that'll get Adrian Gonzalez up with no lefty up in the bullpen. So this inning not going the way Mike Matheny had hoped. Second walk of the inning. That's a parlayed an infield hit, a couple of walks, and a sacrifice fly into a run, and now a chance for more with Gonzalez, who had a base hit his last time up, 1 for 3 on the day. And Adrian takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, the Mets offense that you thought maybe going into the year or probably during this year is going to be a feast or famine kind of home run ball club has taken advantage of some mistakes by the Cardinals in these first 2 games.
And again, the aggressive base running has a lot to do with that. Even though it cost them perhaps a run when Gonzalez got thrown out at third his last time. This is flied out to right, and Fowler's right there. And that retires the side. But the Mets scratch out a run and lead it 5-1 as we go to the 8th at Citi Field. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Join T-Mobile and get free MLB.tv all season long. Sign up now through April 2nd at T-Mobile.com/MLB. We go to the 8th. Mets trying to make it 2 straight wins to start the season. They lead the Cardinals 5-1. Anthony Swarzak, who got the final 2 outs in the 7th, stays on for the 8th to face Tommy Pham, who made that odd play stepping in front of Ozuna that led to a run for the Mets in the last half inning.
Well, I ran next door and talked with Tim McCarver and the crew over there, and they've been told nothing, but they did relay one interesting tidbit, is that 10 days ago in spring training, Ozuna had a routine fly ball, the guy tagging up at home. He gathered under the ball, had momentum going forward, and he threw a 10 dribbler to home plate.
Really?
And they've been told nothing, because so it makes me think that he's got a sore whip.
Because we have certainly seen him throw bullets from left field. Remember that game in Miami a few years ago when he threw out 2 runners at home plate from left field?
David Wright, Neuenhuis, maybe?
Yeah. 0-2 to Pham, was 1 for 2 and a walk today. Well, it gives you an idea that Pham knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Or at least knew what he was trying to do to protect Ozuna by stepping in front of him.
It's the only logical reason.
Well, it might also be mentioned that Ozuna has not looked great at the plate either. He was brought in to be the big bat in the middle of this Cardinal lineup.
Tell you what I've liked so far, I like what I see from Swarzak. He's out there going after people. I love it.
Well, he's a guy who took a long time to figure it out at this level, and he is not inclined to give it back anytime soon. And he strikes out Pham with a slider for the first out. Second strikeout for Swarzak, and that's 10 today for Met pitchers. After 15 on opening day. Watch SNY Mets games on the go on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.tv or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game.
You know, in his defense, they never really knew what to make of Swarzak, whether he was a starting pitcher or a reliever. So he was shuttled back and forth, not kind of knowing what kind of pitcher to be, a 3-pitch pitcher, 2-pitch pitcher. And finally last year figured it out, maybe with some of the analytics too.
Well, he was taught to be a sinker slider guy too.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he bagged the 2-seamer and adopted the 4-seamer, and we can see how well it's paid off for him. Carpenter's 0 for 3 today, struck out his last time up against DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom 5 2/3 in his season debut. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Job well done for DeGrom. Robert Gazelman got 2 outs, gave up 2 hits. Swarzak bailed him out in the 7th. And now try to finish off the 8th as well. See the shift against Carpenter. A high strike.
You can see Carpenter. Brian O'Nora calls the high strike. So you've been seeing him do it the whole game. He got punched out on a letter high strike. Carpenter. His last at bat.
Yeah, that high slider from DeGrom.
You got to know your umpires.
Lifted to right center, hit well. Lagares racing back near the wall. It's out of here. He hit it there. First home run of the season for Matt Carpenter, who had 23 last year. So after taking a high strike, he deposits one over the fence, and he cuts the Mets lead to 5-2.
And another high pitch right here. He said he finally figured out I better swing at it. I think Swarzak tried to come inside. Good quick bat. Oh boy, he got the barrel through there. Just got it too much over the middle.
Almost hit it here. Figure that's the home team, right? You know, it's so interesting. A guy can have an argument with an umpire and 2 seconds later hit a home run.
Good concentration.
That's what it's called. Yep.
So here's Ozuna. 0 for 3 today, 0 for 7 through the first 2 games, and he lifts one foul. Doesn't it look like there's something off with him?
I agree. I mean, his swing doesn't look as crisp as it usually does.
Boy, I tell you what, so much is needed from this guy. It's the big pickup they made in the offseason.
Popped up into right center. Lagares calling. 2 out. Well, I'll tell you what, with the Cubs in their division and with Milwaukee vastly improved, the Cardinals can't afford to get off to a very slow start.
And I believe their manager under the gun too.
Well, that's certainly it's been the noise in St. Louis. And you see the standings from last year, and the Brewers were a surprise last year, but they've gotten better.
So we're talking about how valuable Swarzak was last year. 60 games, excellent ERA, but 24 of those times he got more than 3 outs. That's his first one with the Mets.
So Martinez takes a slider for a strike. Martinez drove in the first St. Louis run with an opposite field single in the 4th. 2 for 3 today, 5 for 7 to start the season.
I know.
Sounds like an airship. Is there a Zeppelin above
it? It does sound like that.
And we're tucked back so far we can't really see what's up in the sky.
No, we can never see those high pop-ups, Garrett.
See how strongly Jose Martinez finished last year and keep that going to start this season. So far so good. 2 balls and a strike. So how would you like to be Ron Gardenhire in your new job? You get rained out opening day.
That's right.
You have a win stolen by replay on when you finally play a game, and they get rained out again today. They have to play a split doubleheader tomorrow against the Pirates. He got ejected, by the way.
That's right.
Yesterday after they replay stole their win, walk-off hit, and somehow they overturned it. I don't know how. So perhaps tomorrow will be Gardy's call to the post. Split doubleheader on Easter Sunday.
Ooh, good.
There's a knee-high strike, a 3-1 slider from Swarzak. Interesting pitch selection there with a 3-run lead. Base is empty.
Get used to it. I've been seeing it for a long time now. Behind the count, secondary pitches.
But doesn't the score matter?
It sure does.
But he's telling you with his splits last year, he'll throw any pitch anytime.
And with the fastball away and Martinez lunging for it.
The advantage for the pitchers in these first 2 games is Colbert has had not a generous strike zone, just a pitcher's strike zone, and Honora's been calling from the knees to the letters.
Isn't that what he's supposed to do?
Well, we can discuss that another time. But.
3-2 to Martinez, and he walked him. So a 2-out walk keeps the inning alive for Molina. And Dave Eiland's going to pay a visit to the mound. This will be trip number 2.
30th pitch. 30 pitches from Swarzak, and
Swarzak grabbing his side there. Remember, he strained a calf muscle the first game he pitched in spring training, covering first base. Now it looks like he's got a little oblique issue.
He's toast.
And Mickey Callaway is going to come out. So is the trainer Brian Chiclo. So this, I guess, will not be an official visit. It'll be an injury visit.
And Jerry Reese Familia has just gotten up in the bullpen. I know he'll have as many pitches he wants to throw if there's an injury, but still. He'd have to do the majority of his warming up on the mound.
Let's watch the last pitch.
Oh, yep. That's a shame.
So Swarzak, who missed time in spring training with injury, now has a different injury concern.
And that is an oblique. Let's hope it definitely wins. And
I mean, he was grabbing at it. There wasn't any question about that. Now the question is, can he talk himself into staying in the game?
Yeah, it's that old thing. Whether you think it's pulled or a spasm, you got to take him out.
yeah, get him out.
And that's
Get
what
him
Mickey
out.
Callaway says. He says, let's go.
No way.
So Swarzak is out, and we'll keep our ears out to hear about whatever medical concern he has. And Familia, who pitched the 9th inning on opening day, will come into the 8th inning today, trying to protect a 3-run lead with 2 out. Yeah. So you see him grabbing at it there, that left side in the back. Or
you don't want to take any chances.
So Swarzak is out. Familia in. He'll get as much time as he needs to warm up. That's up 5-2 in the 8th. We'll be right back to Citi Field.
Tim McCarver is doing another ball game today, and it's the Mets against the Cubs. And David, it looks like the Mets are with their back to the wall.
Well, it has certainly not been a good stretch for New York. Mets went home, won 4 in a row, then lost 4 out of 5, and now they've got to win this thing on the road.
Holy cow, you're like a used car salesman.
David, huh?
By the way, you look a little bit like David Cohn to me there.
Come on. You know, it was nice to be in Ralph's pantheon, though. I mean, was there anybody whose name Ralph didn't occasionally get wrong?
Hey, good for you holding it together.
Jerry's Familia in to pitch to Yadier Molina. Mets make a double switch. There's Familia and his numbers.
We talked about it all spring long, kind of a lost year for Jay Reese.
Wilmer Flores will play first base. He'll go into the 8-hole where the pitcher had been. Familia goes in the 6th spot as Gonzalez comes out. Molina 2 for 3 today.
Oh,
and that skips away from d'Arnaud, and down to second base goes Martinez. So a wild pitch by Familia puts a runner in scoring position.
You know, I don't think it's mechanics with Familia. I think at some point he tries to add a little to his fastball, throw it a little harder, and that's when he spikes it and throws it 55 feet.
You know, by double switching, Mickey Callaway makes it clear that he intends for Familia to get the last 4 outs in this game. But there will be times when Familia might be asked to pitch in the 8th inning and not necessarily finish the game. It's a good looking slider, and it's 1-2.
Well, Mickey was used to, when he was the pitching coach for Cleveland, interchanging Brian Shaw, Cody Allen, and Andrew Miller, depending on the matchups.
Because he didn't have to worry about double switching there.
No.
1-2 to Molina. And the slider fouled away. Cardinals 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position today.
Go in and get him right now, folks. Molina's one of those 2-strike hitters, one of the good 2-strike hitters. He goes the opposite way. He gets you more vulnerable inside. Oh.
One-two. This is away. Familia's never had much luck with Molina. Yachty's 3 for 4 against him.
Well, Molina's a smart hitter. Everything's been away so far to Yachty. Sitting on that outside corner.
Two coming. And that's away at 98. Full count. If Molina finds his way on, that would get the tying run to the plate. Paul DeYoung waiting on deck. There have been 18 full counts in this game. Seems like a lot, doesn't it? Wastes that slider away.
Good choice of pitches. Even better hitting by Molina to foul off that 3-2 slider.
2 years ago, when he had 51 saves, there were 5 games in which Familia worked more than an inning. Did it twice last year in his truncated season. Eighth pitch of the at bat coming to Molina. Struck him out. Familia wins the battle. Side retired.
There's your hard sinker down and in.
Break down the latest Mets and Yankees news on Baseball Night in New York. Presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers, weeknights at 6. Only on SNY. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night, which is now at 11 o'clock. Every night on SNY. We'll take you around the majors. Final four tonight in San Antonio. And the UConn women go down without a championship for the second straight year.
Wow.
Juan Lagares leads off the home 8th inning and takes outside for ball 1. Lagares had a base hit to center field his last time up, 1 for 3 on the day. Wilmer Flores, who's now in the 8 hole, is on deck, and then Ahmed Rosario in the home 8th inning. And Sam Tuivalala sends one to the backstop, 2-0. Tuivalala faced 3 batters in the 7th, a sac fly, a walk, and a flyout. The 4th St. Louis pitcher of the day, Michael Wacha, is on the hook. He allowed 4 runs and 5 hits over 4 2/3. And Lagares bangs one up the middle. That's a base hit. So Juan has his second hit of the day. And the Mets have the leadoff man on the bottom of the 8th.
You know, Keith, honestly, it takes you back to before the game when Mickey Callaway was talking about using all the players on this roster and gets rewarded with Lagares getting a couple of hits. It's nice to see.
Well, Lagares and d'Arnaud with the additions to the lineup today. d'Arnaud has a home run. Lagares has 2 hits. And now Wilmer Flores up for the first time today. Popped up in his only at bat on Thursday. And he pops this one up as well. DeYoung out.
Trouble.
Bam in, and it drops for a base hit. Little flare into no man's land, and Wilmer has his first hit of the season. And the Mets have 2 men on.
Oh, Pham broke back a couple steps.
And DeYoung broke in. They both broke the wrong way.
Yeah. You know, we never talk about it, but there are some infielders that are much better than others, and going back and making those plays in the outfield on those kind of swings and pop-ups.
Well, we need to say this too, and Keith mentioned this on opening day. The Cardinals for decades were known as a team that played great defense. They were a horrible defensive team last year, and they've shown no signs of being any different this year.
Now, they made only 17 errors in spring training, and that was the least amount of errors made by any ball club in spring. They're trying to shore that up.
That's not an error.
For what it's worth. But I'm not. They're not the defensively sound team that they used to be.
Well, the Mets with a chance to break this game open in the bottom of the 8th. Let's see if they bunt with Rosario here. With Cabrera on deck, they've got the lefty Tyler Lyons up in the bullpen.
And at the corners, the corner infielders in. They got to respect the bunt here.
Ahmed is 0 for 2 and a walk today, and he does square and bunts it foul at the plate.
Stabbed at it. And this is the play here. This is the second game now. Mickey Callaway, an American leaguer, growing up in that DH, putting the bunt on again. And this is the proper play right here. It's a big 2 runs to get in.
Corners coming a little tighter on the second pitch. And Rosario in self-defense fouls it off, and it's 0-2. So not a very good example of bunting on those first 2 pitches.
You know what you want to do in that situation is you want to put the bat when you turn around at the top of the strike zone. If the ball is above that, then you just let it go. It's very easy. I mean, very easy. It's not very easy.
Very easy for
Makes
you.
it easier. Makes it easier.
Very easy for you, Ronnie.
Well, let's see if he's still bunting with 2 strikes. Not. And Molina does a great job knocking it down, but breaking for third is Lagares, and he makes it safely. Holding it first is Flores, but good base running by Lagares as he takes third on the wild pitch.
You can take the. It's really a good block by Molina not to get both runs to advance. Both runners.
4th time in 2 games they've taken advantage of a ball that's gotten away from Molina.
Cardinals will bring the infield in now. 1st and 3rd, nobody out, with the Mets already up by 3 runs in the 8th. 1-2 the count to Rosario, who drove in 2 runs with a base hit on opening day. And he fouls off the fastball from Tuivailala. Mets bullpen is quiet. It's going to be Familia to close it out in the 9th against the lower 3rd of the St. Louis order. 1-2. Struck him out with a slider. So Tuivailala gets Rosario for the 1st out of the inning. His first strikeout. And that'll bring up Cabrera with 1st and 3rd and 1 out. And here comes Mike Matheny, and he wants to bring in the left-hander to turn Cabrera around.
I believe that'll be Tyler Lyons, right?
So pitching change for the Cardinals. Tuivailala out, Lyons in. 5-2 Mets. We'll be right back. Insurer in the New York market by Spectrum. Watch your show wherever you go with Spectrum TV. It's TV the way you want it. Get it now at Spectrum.com. And by your Tri-State Audi dealers. Take a test drive today. Lefty Tyler Lyons in for his first appearance of the season.
Did a great job out of that bullpen. 68 punch-outs in 54 innings.
Interesting move by Mike Matheny to turn Cabrera around. He hits one deep to right. Fowler back near the wall, and one hops the fence. Lagares is in to score. Flores will stop at 3rd. It's an RBI double for Asdrubal Cabrera, and the Mets now lead at 6-2. I was about to say an interesting move by Mike Matheny, considering that Cabrera hit .392 as a right-hand batter last year. First pitch, an RBI double.
Well, this is really a sacrifice fly. Hits it back to the track. Look where Fowler's playing. How can you play that shallow against Cabrera?
I don't know how Flores didn't score on that, by the way.
Could not have had a good read.
They will intentionally walk Cespedes. The abracadabra walk. And there's
the abracadabra.
There it is.
Walk. How'd that happen? Sleight of hand.
That's put Cespedes on base for the 4th time today.
We're trying to get a younger demographic.
It's the Easter Bunny. Here's Jay Bruce with the bases loaded. First pitch swinging, pops it up on the infield. Infield fly rule will be invoked. The batter is out. DeYoung squeezes it, and there are 2 away. So Bruce has been stymied all afternoon, now 0 for 5. But the Mets now 4 runs to the good. And Todd Frazier will try and tack on. The word on Anthony Swarzak, sore left oblique, as we surmised watching him grab at that spot as he came off the field, and hopefully it's not a long-term issue, but that we'll have to wait on.
Always when you started the season, and Ronnie, I'm sure Ronnie will agree, always worried you wanted to get through the cold weather in April, coming out of spring training. Just get me through April healthy.
Todd Frazier's already driven in 3 runs today, and a chance for a Passel more. 2-run double in the first, sacrifice fly in the 7th.
That's could use another big 2-out hit. Didn't they score 7 runs on 2 outs with 2 outs in yesterday's ball game?
And Frazier lifts one to left, and Ozuna right there to play it in the shadows. And that retires the side. So the Mets settle for just the 1 run in the 8th. And Familia will head back to the mound with a 4-run lead, trying to get the final 3 outs. Gary. Jerry's Familia got the final out in the 8th. He'll stay on to try and complete the save in the 9th.
We've seen 3 different relievers by the Mets have gotten an out and then sat down and had to go back out. Familia the last one.
Paul DeYoung leads off in the top of the 9th for St. Louis, 1 for 3 today. And you know, in an era where clean innings have been the norm for a lot of teams, do you think that that is a learned skill for a reliever?
I think it's a learned skill. I also think, you know, you have a manager who has done it. A manager who has done it a lot in the past as a pitching coach. So that's one thing. The second thing to me, which I find interesting, is that you're very careful with your starters. when you come out of the blocks in spring training on these initial games, but still treating the relievers exactly how you might treat them in the middle of June.
You're saying in terms of cooling down and heating up again, that kind of thing. Interesting.
They don't do it in spring training, right?
1-2 to DeYoung.
You think it's a lost skill?
No, I don't think it's a lost skill. I just think that in spring training you would never get Familia to get an out and then sit down and get 3 outs the next inning, would you? You'd always have him have a clean inning, and that's it. That's his work for the day.
Well, they did sometimes go multiple innings, no? So, but you're saying it's a little different with the adrenaline up here in the cold weather.
Cold weather is more what I'm feeling.
Well, certainly, as far as that, pulling an oblique is a cautionary note, but but who knows?
No, I'm not even saying it has anything to do with injury. I'm just saying that it's a little more difficult to do it in the first few games, or even in April when you're coming out of spring training with a different kind of role.
Right. I guess my question would be, once you get used to it, it's something that you can get better at.
I think that you anticipate that you're not going to be taken out of a game. You don't start managing the game as a reliever.
1-2. And DeYoung fouls off the fastball.
I've seen many guys that I played with. They get an out and they're like, waiting for the manager to take them out of the game. And
I did my job.
Yeah, I'm out, right? Oh, I'm still in? Oh, okay. Well.
Slider sits high, and the risk you run here with Familia, of course, is that he threw 8 pitches to his only batter in the 8th inning, and now he's about to throw an 8th pitch to his first batter here in the 9th inning. And there's nobody up behind him in the bullpen. Colton Wong on deck, and DeYoung takes a slider up in it, and it's 3-2.
Four-run lead, pound that sinker.
Yeah, don't get too cute here.
Just pound it.
Don't even think right, inside or outside. Think down for a strike.
3-2 coming. Struck him out. There's the sinker. 1 out in the 9th. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Familia. That's 12 for Met pitchers today, 27 in the first 2 games. Colton Wong is 0 for 3, struck out, popped up, grounded out. Takes inside ball 1. Final game of this series tomorrow afternoon with Steven Matz on the mound for the Mets. Our coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow right here on SNY. Jed Jerko is out on deck to pinch hit for the Cardinals. We have the pitcher spot due up next. And now Familia behind on Wong, 2-0. Last year, Familia never threw more than 30 pitches in a game. 2 years ago, in his big season, he had as many as 38 pitches in a game. He's about to throw his 20th today. Two and 1 to Wong.
Well, the shadows are starting to be a help to Familia and the Mets. Just creeping in front of Colton Wong.
Not quite enough yet to affect the hitter.
And that one skips in, and it's 3-1. So Familia has gone to a 3-ball count on all 3 batters he's faced. And he walks Wong. And the Cardinals have a 1-out base runner. And I would think you have to get somebody up behind him now. Not so much because the game is in immediate jeopardy, but because you just don't want him to throw that many pitches.
4 hitters from now, you've got the left-hander Carpenter, so maybe Blevins and Ramos might see some warming up here in the 9th.
Jed Jerko will be the pinch hitter, his first appearance of the season. $20 home runs last year for Jerko. It looks like he may get diminished playing time this year with the emergence of Jose Martinez, and Matt Carpenter penciled in for a lot of third base.
Oh boy.
And that skips into Jerko, and all of a sudden Familia having trouble locating the strike zone, and still there's nobody up.
So now there's a time you see Travis d'Arnaud throw that ball to Familia. I think in the past he would have went out there, right, and talked to him. And
he's got 5 visits.
I know.
To go.
I mean, but it was almost like he wanted to go out there and he came back.
Right. It definitely discourages catchers from going out, but at this point in the game, there's no reason not to go out.
That's right.
1-0 to Jerko, and he takes a strike. Jerko hitless in his only career at bat against Familia. And Jerko pops up the slider. Rosario calling for it. 2 out. So Familia asked to get a 4-out save. He's 75% of the way there. And now Dexter Fowler with the Cardinals down to their final out. Fowler 0 for 4 today, 0 for 8 to start the season. Long at first and 2 out. He takes off, and the Mets let him go on defensive indifference.
Familia's not indifferent. That's his run out there.
And Fowler takes inside, and again Familia's behind 2-0.
Keith, situational baseball, 2-0. You need base runners. You have to take a pitch here.
Leadoff hitter, yes.
Tommy Pham would be next. Matt Carpenter behind him. And Fowler taps one foul, so he wasn't taking 2-0. Familia trying to nail it down for Jacob deGrom, who went 5 2/3, gave up a run on 4 hits and struck out 7. 2-1 coming to Fowler. There's a strike, and now the Cardinals are down to their final strike. In the air to left field. Cespedes right there waiting. And the ball game is over. Familia gets the final 4 outs for his first save. Jacob deGrom 5 2/3 for the win. d'Arnaud and Cespedes go deep. And for the first time since 2013, the Mets start out a season 2-0.
deGrom battled his way through 5 2/3 innings, but had 7 punch outs, and then 3 different relievers, Gazelman, Swarzak, and Familia, cleaned it up.
On the offensive side, the Mets, who scored 9 runs without a home run yesterday, had 2 today. The first from d'Arnaud and Cespedes of the season. A big 3 RBI day from Todd Frazier. And the Mets continue to rock and roll. Double digits in hits, 11 hits today.
Game summary presented by Humana. DeGrom 7 strikeouts. The Mets as a group struck out 12 today, 27 in the first 2 games as the Mets go to 2-0 on the season. Your Coors Light refreshing finish. Mets didn't play long ball on opening day. They did today. Travis d'Arnaud makes his first start of the year and celebrates with a home run. And Yoenis Cespedes the very next inning went down and got a breaking ball and hit his first home run of the year. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.edu/cats. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $5,000. Mets win their first 2 of the season. They take today's game 6-2. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow with Steven Matz on the mound against Luke Weaver. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 12:30 right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason post-game live. Gary Apple, Nelson Figueroa, Todd Zeal. Take it away, guys.